Okay. Okay. Am I live? I think I am. Thank God. That was. Oh, I made the classic error that I identified on like the last stream that we had. It's like, man, I really shouldn't try to make big coding changes like right before stream to try and like get a cool thing in time for stream. uh Cause that's what always happens. That I get like a cool idea for stream like an hour and a half before stream starts. And I'm like, an hour and a half's enough time. That's like just enough time if I go fast. And then I end up not really understanding how registering like URL listeners works because I like half understand it, And then my entire computer locks up because I'm like registering URLs on top of each other and I don't even know what was going wrong. So and I'm desperately trying to undo it so that I can still make stream in time. Oh, good times. But we're back. Hello, bird. What you want? You want attention? Why do you want attention right now? Bird dog. What's up? Hello, we're back. Hi. Hello. An ambitious mega as always. Yes. This one's gonna be an interesting one. I'm glad that it is short. Because I'm I don't want to talk about it too much in case it ends up being nothing, but I have some maybe iffy health stuff that is putting me in a weird headspace. But I won't actually know what's going on for probably like another 3 weeks. So I'm just trying to ignore it, but I'm not the most focused I've ever been. So I'm kind of glad that it's a little short. Let's see. Matt starts his recap. Another spoiler channel favorite ad. Spoiler channel favorite ad. Hope it's nothing too bad. Me too. I mean, without going into too much detail, because again, it's not even that like it's like TMI or that I don't want to talk about it. It's like essentially, I've talked about like the back tumors I had when I was younger before, and all of the medical stuff that I have received or heard has said, no, there's no way that they can come back. But I'm getting symptoms that are probably nothing. Like they are not like super uncommon symptoms for someone my age that has my type of lifestyle. But they could also lead they could also be indicative or be symptomatic of the tumors being back. So it's a little bit distracting. But it is what it is. I like being live. I like being live it's a weird thing with Critical Role especially. But with like a lot of the stuff that I do when it's so like series based, it's like if I was a PUBG streamer, let's say, and I was just going live and playing PUBG, and that's whatever. I would 100% want to and love to be live. But it's mostly like with Critical Role, it's like, man, I don't want to be too like unfocused during like a really good episode. Now I was probably gonna go live no matter what. It's more just that I'm glad it's short so that I can like focus all of my focus, because I still have it. I'm just not my well of focus is not as deep as it normally is, or at least creative focus, And then because of that, I'm not going to be able to do Critical Eyes next Friday. So we'll do 85 this week. We'll still do Age of Umbra like normal on Wednesday. But I have a CT scan on Friday at exactly 2:30. So I will definitely, and I'll be like fasting beforehand, and then I don't know if it's an actual allergy or if it's just like, I don't know what it is about it, but contrast. I don't know if anyone's ever gotten like MRIs or CT scans, but basically like if you get like one of those sorts of like radiological scans, sometimes they will inject you with this stuff called contrast. I don't know what the fuck it's made out of, but it helps them see the shit, you know? It helps them like see the shit on the scans. I don't know what it is, but it helps. But whatever it is, it makes me high as a kite, which is not what it's supposed to do. It's not supposed to like make you like it's not supposed to be like an inebriant, you know? It's not like anesthesia. But whatever it does to my biology, I go to a different plane of existence. I don't know what it is. I've had like 3 MRIs with contrast, and every time, the first time it happened, I went to the MRI appointment by myself. Like I drove myself, and then I drove like across Kansas City to go and meet my parents for lunch, and Paige, and like halfway through. Which this was maybe one of the scaredest I've ever been. I'm laughing about it now because I survived and I didn't hurt anyone. But like I'm driving and I leave the hospital. And then in my memory and like in the moment, it was like time just like cut. And then all of a sudden I was in the middle of the highway. And I'm like looking around, I'm like, how the fuck did I get here? And like, and I have to like pull off of the highway, and it was supposed to be like a 30-minute drive, and it ended up taking me 2 hours. And like my parents were like calling me, and Paige was calling me, and I couldn't figure out how to operate the phone. It was not good. And so then after that, I got off the highway and I just like drove like a little grandma through purely residential, like everything. I was going like 20 miles an hour, just and so then after that, I have either been driven or taken rideshare. Or walked, but that was not great. That was not a great experience. And like we asked the hospital afterwards, and they were like, I guess that's something that they were basically like, that's something that can happen, but it is so rare that we don't warn people. And I was like, I feel like you should still warn people. I don't know if there's any chance, but I guess, if it's so rare, I don't know. I don't know shit about medical shit. But that's all. But
The other thing is I was at a children's hospital, so the children wouldn't be driving.
oh yeah, that is also true. Okay, yeah. Partially to the hospital's defense, it was at a children's hospital, and I was not a child at the time. I was like 18 or 19. But because I had gotten I'd gotten care there for like 6 years before this, my condition had just kept going. And they hadn't like fully transferred me to a different hospital yet. So that was also part of it, is that it wasn't like on their list of things, because they're normally operating on and caring for children who are getting like driven there by their parents. I forgot that was another factor to it. Yeah. Yeah. Full episode Friday. Oh no. My post now Susan says, nah, you're chilling. You're good. It's all fine. Yeah. But I hope it turns out okay too. The thing is, like, it most likely will. That's the thing. Is like that's why I don't even want to get like too into the symptoms, is because it's like it is almost like 99%. Like there are very common things and very banal things that could be causing the symptoms. It's just that they are also the exact sort of symptoms that I would have if the tumor was back. So it's just distracting. Like I feel fine. It's just very mentally distracting. Yeah. Boy, oh boy, the title you wrote. Yeah. Dude, I don't know what the fuck is going on, dude. With I mean, I do. It's so weird. If I was watching this live, I would definitely think we're like wrapping up the campaign right now. Like 100%, I would think that we're wrapping up the campaign. But I know that there's like another 20 or 30 episodes. So I don't know what the fuck we're doing. And I don't blame them. Like, it's nothing wrong. I'm just like, when is the other shoe gonna drop? That's more of what I'm like waiting for. I'm almost tense because I'm like, when is it? What's going on? Yeah, but you did get it checked. I got real bad news of this kind a couple of days ago. Now I'm really hoping your news will just be a scare. I'm hoping it's just a scare too, but yeah, I'm getting it checked. That's why we can't do Critical Eyes next Friday. I'm going to get a CT scan. Yeah, we're all good. But it's a chemical that lights up under X-rays and can list the chemicals if you're curious. It wouldn't mean anything to me. Like, medical and like biology stuff is probably the science-y thing that I know the least about and am also the least interested in. I don't know why. But yeah, like chemistry and biology is just like it just doesn't. It's a lot of memorization. It's a lot of like non-intuitive stuff. It's like I'm not proficient in medicine. That is a fact. It's like I am the opposite of Northern Lion when it comes to like remembering proper noun shit. Like Northern Lion will pull out like the director of a movie that he's never seen and the budget of it and like the box office total. It's just like those like categorization things just like fit in his head. And I am the exact opposite. I need things that like intuitively structure and relate to each other. So it's like the closest I get to biology is like anthropological like studies and trees, and like evolution is very interesting because it's like a series of like changes, and like that sort of like long running thing can like fit in my brain, but individual biological facts, not it. Yeah. I have an MRI scheduled for next week. Mark me not as scared and also interested. I will say I've had a lot of MRIs. I've had more than the average person. Maybe not a lot, but I've had like 4 or 5. They're long and loud. But like ultimately, I think if you are prepared for them, they've gotten shorter. I will also say that they've gotten shorter since I first got mine. My most recent one was like half the time of my first one. And the space is pretty confined. Like, I'm not gonna...
Yeah, you have to tell people you're a claustrophile.
Yeah, I'm a claustrophile. I really like enclosed, tight spaces. Like, I have like a big weighted blanket. And like, if I'm feeling like stressed, I like to like cover myself and like get as small as possible. So, MRIs are very chill for me. No, only the first 2.
Because I feel like that's also...
I also yeah, because it was at a children's hospital, I got to watch a movie during the first 2 MRIs I ever had. And then the second 2 I didn't, but I just fell asleep during them. MRIs make me fall asleep. Ah, there you go. Yeah, me and Pharaoh are together on that. Yeah, but it's I don't know. I feel like if you are mentally prepared for what it will be, I feel like it's not that bad, but I can't. I'm not going to tell you it's like fun. It's mostly boring to me. But yeah. Oh, we're getting to the me telling the driving story. It was terrifying. Yeah. Something like this happened to my aunt once. She was driving somewhere, and the next thing she knows, she's on the other side of town, and it's like 40 minutes later with no memory of how she got there. Yeah. Yeah, dude. I'm going to guess it was a reaction to barium. I know it can make people go loopy and or aggro. Interesting. Doing anything like your grandma is a great survival technique. I'm saying, dude, I literally, when I got off the road, I was like, drive like my grandma. Drive like my grandma. Yeah, dude. Absolutely. My brother's studying medicine, and when he's telling us about what he's learning right now, it makes no sense to me. No idea how he remembers all that. Very impressive. I feel like it is like half of the proficiency of a doctor. Like, it is just remembering things. If you're really good at memory, at remembering things and like process of elimination, that's like half of the natural skill of being a doctor. And I do not have that. I don't have that even in the slightest. Medical school was never in the cards for me. Yeah. Y'all are making me as glad I asked my mom to drive me. Absolutely, yeah. I would definitely have someone drive you. That is a big recommendation I would make. Even like if you don't have any sort of reaction to the contrast, which I will also say, I did not have a reaction to the contrast every time. I've had contrast multiple times, and the time that I had the reaction to it was the second time I had it. So the first time I had it, I didn't have a reaction, or maybe I did, and I just didn't realize it because I was getting driven. It was a very weird thing. But no, I would absolutely, I'd absolutely recommend having someone take you. And even if you don't have a reaction, you'll feel stiff, you know, because you've just been laying in like one position for a long time. So you'll feel very uncomfortable. Can I bring wax earplugs? Maybe. I would ask the doctor. You might be able to bring earplugs. I'm not sure. It definitely is like it's not so loud that I think it will like actively it doesn't like hurt. But I don't know what type of, I'm sure there must be a type of earplugs you could bring. But I'm not sure. Oh, Paige said they give you earplugs. It does nothing. I've never been given earplugs, but.
Mine was on my head too.
Oh, yours was on your head. Yeah, whereas mine has been on my chest. So it also does depend on like exactly how claustrophobic you'll feel, because the tube has openings on either end. So Paige's head was more in it, and my body was more in it.
Did you have a cage over your head?
No. Paige had a cage over her head because hers was on her head. Whereas mine is like on my chest / midsection. So my head was like pretty close to the upper opening as well. Oh, she's coming in.
I'll just say, if you ever have one on your head, my only advice, especially if you are claustrophobic, is just close your eyes and count your breaths and just dissociate, ideally.
There you go. Oh, yeah. What's up, Mr. Dad? Hello. What's up? There's also something called road hypnosis, where the repetitive white stripes lull us into standby mode. I know. Yeah, I have heard of that. That's like why you're not supposed to like do like too many straightaways. You're supposed to have like curves occasionally. Yeah. The ones I've been to have given earplugs and noise canceling cans. That was mostly for the ones on my head. There you go. Anyways, I have been failing to record the takeaways. I'm sorry, I keep scripting them and then not recording them. Because recording is hard. I like being live. But I will say, last episode takeaway, real short, real sweet, real simple. I like Matt being super hands off. It's making it hard for me as an audience member to tell where they are going with this, but in terms of the actual like play and table and experience for the players, they've been under such constant stress. Matt just taking his hands off the wheel, not pressuring them to do anything, just letting them go wherever they want. It's honestly one of the reasons it's giving me the vibes of the end of a campaign is because it feels a little like they're taking a victory lap. Which is like a very end of campaign thing. But I don't think they are, or maybe they are. I don't fucking know. I don't think their victory lap is going to take 30 episodes. But I don't know. So I like what they're doing. I like everything about what they're doing. I just have no idea what to make of it from my POV. So that's my general takeaway. That's kind of it. Let's see. Thanks to the both of you. It's making me feel better in the MRIs around my chest. Yeah, no problems, Belphegor. Yeah, and if it's around your chest, yeah, your head will be a little bit closer to the opening. At least if the machine is like the one that I was in. But yeah. How long is this episode half? Pretty fucking short. And I assume that this is like a combat medium episode. I'm assuming the first half is the combat with Earthbreaker Groon. So I will also say, there's the actual first episode half, and then there is the alternative stopping point, which is a little bit more. So we'll kind of check in after when we get to the actual break. To kind of check in on my mental, see how much more focus I can or cannot give. But yeah. Just remember Hodis has been Kima this whole time. Yeah? It's kind of like Frieza. Yeah, it was actually very apocryphal when they were talking about how it's gonna be a Dragon Ball Z-esque fight. Very apocryphal. Let's see. Move that over there. Move this over here. Oh, we're actually gonna test something. Okay, so wait. Let's see. Was it working at all? Nope. Motherfucker, dude. It wasn't. It didn't work even a little bit. Oh no, it's really not working. Okay, wait, so that is kind of working. Is it okay? But it's not uploading to OBS? There should be a thing over here to the left. Ah! Look at that! Oh my god, it's so broken. But that's okay. That's okay. Okay, if anyone remembers who me talking about how I was going to make a thing where I didn't have to use like the YouTube polls anymore, that's what I was working on before stream. And this is it in the bottom left. It looks very bad right now, but it is working. It's just not, escaping anything even remotely correctly. But you can see it's kind of like ranking words and like tokens and phrases that are said across the stream. Now it's also including all of the parts of the string, even the parts that are just purely informative and not actual content. And it's also not like escaping any common stop words. But this is my general solution for how we are going to be able to possibly do poll-esque things without using the YouTube poll. is this will essentially allow me to like look at chat and like rank the top words or top word phrases from chat. And it is at least kind of working, which is all I really needed. So we're gonna turn it off because it's clearly not fully working, but the proof of concept is working. And that is what we will do. Yeah. Let's see. Last 30 episodes is a victory lap arc. Yeah. Okay, for sure. A5 is the Bard's Lament. It is indeed a Bard's Lament. Which my assumption is that it's going to be like first half Earthbreaker Groon, second half something with Sam and Scanlan. Which is also part of the reason that I'm like kind of like, okay, it'll be good to like start it today when I'm maybe not the most dead focused. And then I'll be able to kind of mentally prepare over the weekend for the second half. Because I am sure that this second half is going to be... I don't even know, man. I don't know what to expect from Sam after episodes 83 and 84. Like, because we've seen him get sort of serious, but I don't know what, you know, I just don't know how, I don't know how much seriousness Scanlan is capable of. We've seen Sam get serious occasionally, but it's not often. I don't know. It's definitely like I can see it going one of a lot of different ways. Like my instincts say that this is the time for a big serious break. Like the comedic character finally gets serious, and like that is like part of why it is impactful, is because the comic relief character is finally getting there. But I also I find it hard to picture. But that's why that sort of break is effective, is because before you see it, it is hard to picture. That is like one of the reasons that it is so effective if it happens, if the comic relief finally breaks very serious, is because it was so hard to picture beforehand. It acts as kind of a reasonable but very surprising sequence. I don't know. It's very hard for me to picture, but given the title, I could see it. And also, to be clear to anyone, I saw the title before the chat message, so I was already kind of thinking about it, but Mega, what do you think of Earthbreaker Groon? I don't know, man. Underdeveloped, but it's not Earthbreaker Groon's fault that he's underdeveloped, you know? And I don't blame the characters for not interacting with him more or anything. It's just, he's fine. I think he could have been really interesting if they had interacted with him more, but they didn't, so. He's someone I could have been interested in. I'll put it that way. How would you play it? I just don't really play characters like Scanlan. Like, I can't imagine playing a character that is that hard comic relief. Like, is that, like, even within my most, generous interpretations of Scanlan, he is like a comic relief sort of character. And that is just not my bread and butter. Like, I am more like Grog, I would say. or Keyleth, or really, honestly, any character I would play would be closer to almost any other member of Vox Machina other than Scanlan. Even though me and Sam are similar in a lot of ways, to the point that it's become a joke, I just can't see myself playing a character like Scanlan. It's just not... It's not where my instincts broadly lie, and even my comedic instincts. It's just not the track that they go down. So the idea of like a comedic character that breaks bad, or not breaks bad, but breaks serious, is just not a archetype or like a beat that I would really have access to. I don't know. Yeah. The funny man of the group has been spiraling and self-medicating. What's the worst that could happen? Yeah. Yep. He's sometimes so predictable. He's predictable and reliable, yeah. I would say Grog dips his feet into being comedic relief a lot as well. He does. And that's why I said I'd be closer to Grog. I think Grog is more consistently serious than like pure comic relief. At least compared to Scanlan. I still don't even think I would really be a Grog. If I'm thinking about the characters I've played in the past, they are probably the closest to like the twins, Percy or Keyleth. Probably the furthest from Keyleth. Probably the closest to like the twins and Percy. Somewhere in that range. Where it's like Vex can be funny, Vax can be funny. But they are I would rarely call any of the three comedic relief. Like I do work in comical things into my characters, just not to the degree that, certainly not to the degree that Sam and Scanlan work it in, and not even really to the degree that Travis and Grog do. Yeah. Vodfrog popping to say hi. Hello, Omni. Hello. Back to the battle with Umbersil. Whoa, that's a good one. Umbersil's top half of the dragons for me. I liked Umbersil a lot. I'm trying to think of what's after Umbersil. Is it the Feywild? Feywild was a good arc. This is right. Oh man, this is right around the time of the Moon Tree. Ooh, I'll keep my lips zipped. I won't spoil my own stream. But I think one of my best theories is coming up. Scanlan means to be funny in character. Grog is mostly serious. It's like jokes in universe versus jokes for the audience's benefit. Yeah, that's true. In character, Grog is primarily trying to be serious, and Grog is just a funny and comedic character. Whereas Scanlan is both. Scanlan is a comedic character and means to be funny in fiction, yeah. Usually we don't post future episode titles. I believe this is the current episode title. But if it was a future episode title, yeah. My version of Megaphone, man, hasn't gotten there yet. That's true. I'll keep my lips zipped. I gotta keep the spoilers intact for my own story. But I think there's good direction coming up, I would say. I didn't know episode titles is sensitive. Won't do it again. Yeah. It's probably on the least side of spoilers, because I do see them at the beginning of the episode, but I do kind of try to let them wash over. But yeah, you're all good. But I think that's it. Bard's Lament. And we'll do 3219. Oh no. People seem hype. Let's start.
Also, I'm falling back in on
It's
an old
quiet.
crutch, an old beloved character.
It's very quiet.
Oh no.
Rhodey Slater is back to do another round.
Oh my god.
Gotta get in character. Yo, it's me, Randy Slater, with another message from our sponsor, Lutcrat. Whether you're dropping in on a party wave in Uluwatu or even Tamarindo, you won't look like a paddle puss if you haul your Trey Gnarly gear from El Crato del Luto. This month's theme is Build, featuring sec brands like Power Rangers, Hang 10, Batman, Wax It Up, Lego, Mondo Bitchin', and Tetris, Shaka. So don't get raked over by a wiper. Point your nose to lootcrate.com/criticalrole and use promo code criticalrole for 10% off your subscription. You'll be radder than Tom Curran nailing a 360 air reverse rodeo. You'll be cooler than a tight onshore breeze at Malibu. You'll be more authentic than a sad voice actor searching for surfing terms on Yahoo Answers at 5 p.m. when he should be really spending more quality time with his children as their youthful lives pass by without their father. Precious moments ticking away until one day they're adults and you're standing at their wedding thinking, oh my God, I missed so much. I missed so very much. And for what? A Loot Crate ad? Anyway, ride that tube and subscribe today, Bonsai! It's all
Fucking crazy with what is going to happen this episode, dude. Fucking crazy when we're about to see Scanlan interact with Kaylee. Oh my God. You have to imagine it was on his mind when he wrote this. Art influences life, influences art. Well, my mom is calling. Maybe she wishes she'd spent more precious hours. I'm joking. She did. Oh my God, dude. That's crazy. And watching it with any amount of like seriousness. It's just it's all in contrast. It's crazy, dude. Existential parent crisis, the ad. I do wonder what the advertisers get told in advance. I don't know, man. In my limited experience and limited knowledge, my intuition is probably, especially given that it's a live ad, is that Loot Crate has some amount of like veto of like if he does something that crosses the line, they can like not pay essentially. But I doubt that they get told very much ahead of time. I don't fully know. I obviously don't know the exact details of their contract, but that would be my assumption, is that they probably don't get told a lot, but once they see it, they might be able to veto it. But again, I hope they didn't. And the fact that they are still a sponsor also probably says to me that they're into this sort of thing. Because if they weren't into this sort of thing, they probably would have canceled the contract by now. You know? Oh, man. I fucking love it, dude. That's crazy. Oh. Let's see. We're at 9:28 is the start of the episode. I'm just gonna fast forward to that. I think if they chose to sponsor CR, they know it'll be goofy at this point. Yeah, there is like an amount of that, of like at the start, you know, you could not blame them for not realizing. But man, by this point, they should know. If they sponsor and they don't know, that's on them. Come on. There will be bizarre. That's true. They will probably know that it'll be bizarre, and there is probably like hey, don't make, I don't know. As an example, like don't make a pedophilia joke. Like that's probably yeah. They probably have a list of like lines and veils for the ads. But then beyond that, probably no specifics about like any individual ad. Yeah. Oh. All right, let's get into the recap.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. So, to get you up to speed with our current story, Vox Machina, having just completed the destruction of the Chroma Conclave, a scourge of ancient chromatic dragons that have terrorized the countryside, they are victorious, yet in the process, lost a couple of lives. Percy returned, and Scanlan, his lifeless body, brought back to Whitestone. They completed the ritual correctly, and he came to life. However, he remains unconscious in a pseudo-coma. They left him in Whitestone, hopefully to recover, while beginning to finish up some of their last business. They've been unable to, with the current rush of this current arc. They made a journey to Vasselheim, where they walked through the Abundant Terrace and into the Birthheart itself, the Temple of Melora within Vasselheim. Spoke with one of the various worshippers there, and buried a box of ashes, apparently, of Sinukir's wife, as a thank you.
Don't say that! Yeah, come on! What the fuck, Matt? God damn it. I have to write that down. That's the thing about it. At this point, I think they probably are ashes. I kind of think that they are ashes, but come on. Let's see. All right. Apparently, ashes that they buried. Jesus. All right, dude. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that's my kind of shit. If I'm drawing a parallel between me and Matt's DMing style, that's a commonality. I love to fuck with my players that way. I will improv ways to fuck with my characters in that way, but how dare you? How dare you do this to me?
For when you guys journeyed and met him in the city of Brass on the Fire Elemental Plane. Upon doing so, you then began to scatter about the city to do some business, one of the elements of which Grog Strongjaw, along with Pike, made their way to the Trial Forge, which is the Cord section of the city. Returning to the Trial Forge, the Temple to Cord, and upon walking to the center of the strangely empty temple structure, you saw down in a once previously traversed sand pit, there stood Earthbreaker Groon, the High Priest of Cord, who then turned to you and...
I really like the idea because Matt said that like this has sort of been in the making or has been building basically like for a while at this point. He was like, oh, you just like never came back and visited him or talked to him. So I really like kind of the implication there that the temple has just been totally empty waiting for Grog this whole time. I don't think that's the actual in fiction just like implication. I think the actual in fiction implication is that, oh, like he heard about them coming back and then he cleared out the temple or whatever. But I really like to imagine the temple just sitting there empty for like 2 weeks and Earthbreaker Groot just standing with his back turned in the sand pit, just be like, is that? And then like the door opens and it's just like a normal acolyte and he gets all excited and he goes, well, Grog Strongjaw. And then it's just Peter. And he's like, I'm sorry, Mr. Groon. I just need to like comb the sand a little bit. It's getting a little off. And then he has to reset. And he has to take his cool Dragon Ball Z stance again.
asked you to show him what you have learned.
Show me what
After
you
slamming
got.
his feet into the sand and preparing himself for conflict, he beckons you towards him. And that is where we left off. So, as you're standing up there on the edge of this pit, Grun just stands there with his hand beckoning towards you.
I reach into my bag of holding and I pull out a small drawing of the letter G. This is what I have That's not it. That's not what I wanted. And I take out the dwarven thrower and I jump into the sand pit.
Alrighty. There, as you land in the sand, bottoms of your boots sinking but a couple inches into the soft surface, Pike gets ready to leap down after, and Grun puts his hand up. No. This fight.
No! Your player is not here. You need to sit this one out. 'Cause I don't want to control you as the DM.
It's for us.
Oh God. Yeah, we're here. We're watching it, right?
You guys didn't say if you were catching
Yeah,
up
we
with
said
them
we
last
came in the
time.
temple with him.
No, we're totally
No,
watching.
no, we
Okay,
said
we're here. So
We're
then you
here.
guys rush in afterward, hoping Morpheus is fighting Neo. You guys are just kind of rushing in at this point.
Yeah.
You all rushing on the outskirts here to watch. I'll pull you in over here to keep an eye on the sidelines. Grog, I need you to roll initiative.
Oh my God!
Big roll.
Now
Big money, no
on the
whammy.
count of 3.
I get advantage.
Jenga.
Get him.
That's shit.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
That's one
I
worse.
play back
5.
this one.
You're going second.
You can go away.
Yeah, well, the second player has advantages sometimes.
So,
Sometimes.
as you land and ready yourself to hammer at the side, knowing that all of your friends are up along the outer edges of this watching you, you look up at Grun, who just, his hands at the ready, puts them down to his side, and just walks up towards you. And just stands there. Your turn.
What a dick move. What a dick move. Right.
That is BM.
I bow and say, chord strength be with you, and I smash the Titanstone knuckles together.
Alrighty. Off to the start.
Dude, it's so funny because this even reminds, like, watching this just after watching Age of Umbra is like, I can just see the DNA of Daggerheart just pumping through the veins of this scene. Like, this scene makes 1000% more sense in Daggerheart than it does in D&D. So it, like, it's awesome that, like, you know, Daggerheart's this full system, and that that Critical Role made it. I saw a thumbnail and title from, I think it's Bonus Action, another YouTube channel, that is like an interview with Matt, and the title is something along the lines of like, I asked Matt Mercer why Daggerheart. Bro, I'm watching this right now. This is why Daggerheart. Like, if you're going to make any system, it's not like they just chose a system that they thought would be cool or that they, like, thought would fill a niche in the market. It's, to me, Daggerheart makes sense as the system that Critical Role would make. Because to me, at least right now, it almost seems like the only system that they ever could have made. And I mean that in a positive way. It's like, I see this, I'm like, oh yeah, this is Daggerheart. They just don't have the mechanics for it yet. That's a great video, very spoilery though. I avoid interviews with Matt for that reason, yeah. But man, it's like, yeah, I watched that and I'm like, yeah, this is why. This is why.
I wish we had popcorn.
Oh,
He
yeah.
is
He's
aura
a
farming.
Damn
Damn
it! Damn it, Denise! Always the bearer of bad news, that one.
Alrighty.
I would like to move.
All right, let's wait, before they start, you know, as always on this channel, let's see. You know, we've got to do our map analysis. So, this is an interesting map, right? Because you know, unlike something like maybe you know, the Kevdak fight or the what color should I use to represent this? Unlike, you know, the Kevdak fight or maybe like Raishan Part 1, you know, rather than having any amount of environmental anything, there's not even any lines. There's not any edges, you know? So like, let's examine this maybe in a more positive light. Oh wait, I can't even move it. Well, just like imagine, right, this on its own thing. Here, I'll actually, I'll go off. So like, this is kind of what the map looks like abstracted, right here. But don't take the arrow as part of it. It's not. Now, we've got a really interesting situation going on where it just drives all the focus, you know? Don't get distracted with any, you know, moving. Don't get distracted with, like, I don't know, cover or vision or range. Just get right up on each other and just go to town, you know? What's wrong with that, you know? I think maybe interesting maps are a little overrated.
Backwards, 3 squares.
Okay.
That's my turn.
All right. On his turn, he stands there. Stares right at you.
I know it.
Arms to the side.
It's a test already. Oh,
Wait for you to go first.
I hate the SATs. I hate Scantrons. I hate number 2 pencils. I hate all of them.
Don't blink. Roll with the player.
I start in that same distance from him, the same radial distance. I start walking to my right. My full speed.
Now, the great thing about what this map does for that choice, you know, walking to your right full speed, what's great about this map is that if you rotate the map 90 degrees, literally nothing has changed. That's what's really awesome about this one. It's not just a white room, because it's also a circle, which means that it is completely symmetrical. You can't even play off of corners.
Okay.
That's my turn.
He turns with you as you move. Just rights himself. And stares at you. Your turn.
I know, right?
Smash cuts 2 hours later.
Okay, what we do?
Are you hungry? I'm kind of hungry.
Yeah, do you think that Matt is trying to, like, really embody the boringness of the arena through the boringness of the decision making? This map is just a story point for Grog. It is. Like, I get it, you know, I'm making all these jokes, but I've talked about it. I get why, you know, Travis is into this. This is, and, you know, Groon. This fight is not necessarily a fight that is supposed to be or needs to be won. The victory condition, the win condition, is not necessarily to win. The win condition is to participate and to go through the motions in an interesting way. And that is why I say I think it would be way better in something like Daggerheart. But it's like, you know, I get what they're doing. I don't want it to come off like I don't understand what they're going for. But it is very funny to me in a annoying kind of way. Surprised me that they made a map at all. If there's a situation where Theaters of the Mind is okay with 2 close combat characters, yeah. I am fully with you. It's like, this is a situation where it's like, man, we could have just put this all in Theater of the Mind. There's really very little reason to even have it. If I had to play devil's advocate, the only thing that I would say is relevant about this being a map is purely to show the size differential. Like the fact that he clacks his knuckles and he grows and is now a large creature as opposed to the medium creature of Groon. That is theoretically something that is interesting to show with minis as opposed to Theater of the Mind. Is that worth it? I don't know. This isn't for me. And this isn't for someone like me. So whatever.
I would like to rage.
Okay. So,
And I do so by taking the Dwarven Thrower and smashing it against my chest. And then I chunk it at him.
all right. As you slam it in your chest, you can feel the impact, and there's that brief, sharp bit of pain as the metal clashes against the muscle, slamming against the bone in your ribcage, and that pain just kind of shoots through you like exciting electricity, and you harness the pain as your eyes blur for a moment as you feel the rage overtake your muscles, flexing and tensing, and with that fury now flowing through your body, you take the hammer. I need you to go ahead and make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, no.
I knew it. I didn't know it.
Oh, no.
Which is -2, right?
Yes.
That's a 6.
As you go to throw, The strength leaves your arm and it just hangs limp aside. The attack is lost.
Any reason why?
You don't know.
Not that I know. Cool. Do I have another attack?
Yeah, you have 2 attacks.
I shake off the random numb arm and I toss it over to the other hand. I'm like, come on, Betsy, and I throw it with that hand.
Okay, roll another wisdom saving throw.
I don't know D&D enough to know what the fuck's happening right now. Oh, 16?
16, actually. Let me see this real fast.
I have a modifier of 0. Minus I rolled an 18.
Monks are
What the fuck is this? Is there a monk ability I'm unaware of? What is this? He's open palm monk, right? Because we saw him do quivering palm. What the fuck is this ability? I've never played a monk or had a monk at my table. I only know them in theory. What are we looking at? Is this... I think this map was made for Travis. They get a free sanctuary effect. What? From what and where? Old open hand. Oh, yeah. Oh. At the end of a long rest, you gain an effective sanctuary. The saving throw is 8 plus whiz. What? Any creature who targets... At the end, you gain that lasts until the start of your next long rest. Holy. Must choose a new target. Damn. If the word creature makes an attack, casts a spell, or deals damage, this spell ends. Okay. All right, for sure. Yeah, I mean it's definitely like, you know, he'll lose it. I mean I assume he'll lose it based on how I was reading that. He'll lose it once he attacks. You know, that's fine. That's fine. I was about to say like, oh, it's kind of crazy because then it's like it's basically like 2 separate, or it's almost like disadvantage a little bit, but it's fine. As long as it goes away once Groon attacks, if I'm reading that correctly. But yeah, if it's like a one-on-one fight, not a fight to the death, we don't get a lot of those. Yeah, interesting. Huh.
monks are not in my wheelhouse. I don't know what to think about them.
I feel like this guy is special too.
He's not even here. This is a dream.
Slowly, Raishan uncurls like a cedar from the ceiling.
16.
Nope. This time you do manage to push through and throw the hammer, but you end up throwing it way wide, like 20 feet away from him. Like you're looking at it and just go,
And we
it comes back and you catch it and you're like, this, something's just messing with your mind. There's something about his presence right now that is oppressing your ability to actually attack towards him.
All right, all I have is my bonus action.
We used your bonus action to rage, right?
Oh, I did, yeah. I don't have a bonus action. That's my turn.
All right. He turns towards you, walks forward.
No.
Just carefully and intently. That's his turn. You go.
God dang it!
Oh man.
And I mean, the thing is, like, it's fine for this, but it does, damn if it does not just slow down combat. And it, I don't know, man. Monks are so weird, dude. Monks in general are pretty bad, except for Stunning Strike, which is arguably the best ability in 514. So I don't even really know how to evaluate this. It's like, whatever. It actively disincentivizes combat. It definitely actively disincentivizes attacking. And there's no way, like, this ability would be interesting if Open Hand also gave you an aggro ability, or not an aggro, a way to pull aggro, which we've talked about it. It's all it is all around the tanking fallacy in D&D of like, how do you, if you are a tank, how do you get other things to attack you? Do you get other things to attack you? Whatever. It's like, this ability is super cool if you also have a way to have them attack you. So it's like, oh, you're not attacking, but then you have another thing you can do to like pull aggro. And so it's this like it's like this fun fantasy of you like standing there with your arms behind your back and like dodging strikes. That's cool. Like that's a cool thematic thing. But or even like if it also simultaneously like gave them disadvantage against attacking people that weren't you. You know, that's not exactly an aggro ability, but it's kind of an aggro by a different name. But man, I don't know. That's without any way to do that. It's like if I'm an enemy attacking you, and it's not a 1v1 duel like this. Obviously, it's a little bit different in a 1v1. Oh, we have ads in a minute. But it's
Ads
like
incoming. Take cover.
Man, why do I even attack you outside of a 1v1? Yeah. That's weird. When did open palm become a thing? Was it a new subclass? Nah, it's core. It's in the PHB. It's essentially, it's like the monk. It's kind of like champion fighter, you know, where champion fighter is like more fighter with your fighter. Open palm was theoretically supposed to be the same thing for monk, but monk is just such a weird subclass. Or not subclass, class in general. Are there any aggro abilities besides compelled duel? Theoretically, any ability that makes it harder to attack other people could be considered somewhat of an aggro ability, but compelled duel is the only strict aggro, which I actually think compelled duel might just work the way that I said, but what's up? Hello. Yeah. So that's, I don't know, it's weird. Yeah. Yeah, Guardians Bard, Armor Artificer, Swashbuckler Rogues, Goading Attack. Yeah. There's a lot of soft aggro abilities, which is like almost extra weird that Open Palm gets this, but doesn't even get a soft aggro like that. Strange class. Strange subclass. Monk is maybe one of the strangest classes. It's not even like Ranger, where I can fully say, like, you know, I think you'll enjoy Ranger if you like the flavor of it. But I do think that you will feel behind in power at almost every level. I don't think Monk is like that. But Monk is maybe one of the most almost like incoherent classes in the game, where it's like, I get a lot of what it is doing, but also simultaneously it just has a lot of weird shit going on. I don't know, man. Monk's strange.
Does he wonder?
I'll try and hit him with it with both hands.
Okay, so you go using both hands.
Yeah, both hands.
Go for a roll wisdom saving throw.
6.
You go to swing, and he seems to blur for a moment. Your eyes blink, and as you swing with the hammer, you swung far to your left, and it's almost like your arms are intentionally missing and almost fighting your direct sense of combat.
This is so stupid! Okay, I'll keep the hammer in one hand, but I'll just try and punch him with the Titan Stone Knuckle out of frustration.
Okay, make a wisdom saving throw.
What? No weapon in my hand. 9.
You go to punch, and by the time it gets to his chest, there's so little force behind it that your fingers just kind of unfold open against him, almost breaking your wrist in the process. And you pull back, and he's just staring right at you.
Show me you have the will to fight. Come at me.
Are you gonna move or are you gonna stay where you are?
I'm going to stay within his attack range, but I'm going to 180 around him.
Okay, that's easy enough to get around here. Alrighty.
And I'll stay there.
All right, for his turn, he turns around.
No, he doesn't. Come on. Come on.
Your turn.
This is a nightmare. I just want to hit him. All right. Maybe it's
Don't
all
worry,
about
it's a
love,
nightmare
and I'll
for
try and
everyone.
Okay.
Don't worry.
You got this. Natural 20.
That's a 0. I rolled a 2.
0. Exactly.
You go to grab him, and you reach, and you feel his physical form in your grasp, and then your arms all of a sudden touch nothing, and you realize that he's standing where he was. You grabbed it, what was almost like a mirage or an illusion. It's almost like your brain is playing tricks on you. This one attack.
You can do it, Grog. I don't know what he wants, but figure it out.
So pathetic right now.
How does it look at the rest of the gang?
Yeah,
It looks hilarious.
What did we see?
Well, it's hilarious. It's just
JFC. I don't know what JFC means, but this is double speed because this combat in particular, it's actually 1.8. But combat in general takes a long time, and there is comparatively much less to discuss during it. And this combat in particular, literally nothing is happening. This might be the combat that justifies double speed the most out of any combat that has happened so far in Critical Role. Jesus effing Christ. Okay, well, yeah. Wouldn't that be, oh, Jesus fucking Christ, I see. Yeah, sorry, Justin Brown. I mean, if you want to actually watch Critical Role, feel free. They have the videos up on their channel. It is unwatchable at any speed. I don't know.
You're watching his Grog in the middle of his rage. Most of his attacks are amateur, far too wide away from the target, or by the time they get close, he is holding himself back. And you don't know why. He's just, something is messing with his will and preventing him from being able to follow through with his attacks.
Okay.
Second attack?
Second attack. I just want to touch him with my finger. just a boop.
Okay. You reach out, your finger touches his chest.
He's real. He's there.
The skin's there.
Thought you might be a dragon. Wisdom saving throw?
That wasn't an attack.
Oh, I touched him!
You touched
Good
him.
job, Grog. We believe in you, Grog.
Hey, now wrap it up.
He smiled.
I can do more than 2x speed, but I won't lie. I know I just did a mini crash on... Actually, no. I can't do more than 2x speed. But I do keep it at 1.8 because if I do go to full 2x, it does become even a little bit hard for me to track.
Sachi goes, and with gentleness there comes clarity.
I think you can have a fucking Grog.
That's your turn?
That's my turn.
Okay. What? Now, so with gentleness there comes clarity. And he smiles through his big white gray beard, and the smile fades, his eyes flash. And he is going to attack you with a flurry of blows.
no, no.
Wait, I haven't learned the lesson yet. I'm still...
The lesson's just begun.
Oh, no.
All right, that is...
Time out.
Ooh, 33 to hit. That is a 24 to hit. That's an actual 1, so that is a... And you have 32 to hit. So he hits you 3 times.
Jeez, little wounds.
So you're raging, so you take half damage from these because of bludgeoning. He's punching you. But as his eyes flash, he rushes up and pummels you once in the chin, elbows you in the sternum, goes and grabs your shoulder and leaps over behind you, and then kicks straight back into the middle of your shoulder blades.
Well, wait a minute. Wait a second. What the fuck is going on here? What am I looking at? Okay, give me a moment. Give me a moment. I'm getting out my cell phone. Let's see. All right. Is it still going to be live? Is the website? Ooh, error 404. Awesome. God damn it. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but it is a loot crate. It is a loot crate. .com/critical role, but now it takes you to error 404. Motherfucker, dude.
In the chin, elbows you in the sternum, goes and grabs your shoulder and leaps over behind you, and then kicks straight back into the middle of your shoulder blades. And you feel the breath almost get kicked out of you. That is 15 bludgeoning damage, halved to
7.
We'll say 8.
Yeah.
8. That is 9, reduced to 5, and that is 13, reduced to 7. There you go.
Oh shit, that's 20 points of damage. Cool.
That's your turn. You're up.
Yeah, sweet anus. What do mobs
Really
do?
good British candy.
Can I
Sweet anus.
can I use my magic powers? And I want to keep my eyes closed, and I'm gonna swing around behind me, knowing that I just got kicked in the back there.
Okay, go and make an attack with disadvantage.
Oh, no wisdom saving throw?
Nope.
With gentleness comes clarity. You touched him. Maybe if you'd have shaken his hand.
With disadvantage?
Disadvantage because you have your eyes closed.
23.
That just barely hits. Good damage.
Okay, and a 10.
What did we learn from that?
I should have done a reckless. No, I don't want him rolling reckless. Holy shit, God, I'll die in a second.
No, but close your eyes. What happens? What? It might be touch. I'm so confused. It's like, oh, he's got the touch.
That's 18 points of damage.
18 points of damage. Gotcha. That's your first strike.
Uh-huh.
You feel the weapon behind you make contact with the form, and you see a little bit of sand out of your peripherals like as his form gets pushed about a foot, kind of setting some of it off.
So it goes, boosh. I close my eyes again, and I swing around the other way and try to connect.
Okay, roll again with disadvantage.
That's not bad. 14, 20. 29.
That hits, yes.
Yes. Okay. Damn, same thing. So 18 points of damage.
18 points of damage. Alrighty. As he takes both impacts, kind of pairing them with his forearms, with each impact, they're still hitting him. He's still taking the brunt of the attack and the pain, but with each hit, you can feel just the force of his forearm is almost stopping still the hammer blow as you're throwing it behind you. And you can see him gritting teeth with each impact, but he's just staring right at you again as you kind of spin around, open your eye again to see what you did. He kind of gives you a bit of a narrowed glare.
Stink eye?
A little bit of stink eye. But like an intentional kind of connecting point.
Stink
eye. No, that's a whole different. That's a different monk path.
Like that little hobbit. It's like,
He.
Be nice.
Let's see here.
I'll show you. I'm a student here.
what's the lesson? What's the
He's gonna go
lesson?
ahead and attack you twice.
Oh, does rage just require you to try and attack? I mean, I know in 24 they allowed you to upkeep it with a... Actually, I'm not even going to look it up. I do know in 24 they changed it to just be a bonus action, but it might require you to just try to attack. That is fair.
2 punches straight to your back of your shoulders and neck as you're turning around to look at him. That is a 17.
That hits, yes, my AC.
And a 23, so both hit you. That is 16, so 8 damage.
Okay.
And that is 10, so 5 damage.
Okay.
And he's going to spend 3 key.
3 key?
Yeah, 3 key points. So the first punch hits you across the chin. The second one, he slams his fingers curled up right into your sternum as you turn around to face him. Whack! And as it hits you, you feel these kind of vibrations, ripples carry through your body, and slowly fade inside. You feel this like tingling, this very faint, brief numbness that just kind of lingers throughout your body. You can feel it gathering at the edge of your fingertips and toes, almost like ripples through a lake. And he steps away. You can make attack opportunity if you like.
I would. Yeah.
Never use your reaction to get an attack back because of your retaliation ability.
Yeah, I've totally forgotten that. I'm just totally stunned at this point. That's good. That's 32.
32 hits. Good roll damage.
Yeah.
So 25.
Okay, 25. Nice.
When Ron becomes Popeye.
Alright. And he just stands across the way and just kind of beckons you towards him. Your turn.
And I feel all shake weighty at the moment, right?
Yeah, you're not quite sure. You don't feel bad. It's just this kind of uneasiness in your body.
Can I take a step towards him?
Take a step forward.
Does anything happen? Do I shit my pants?
Nope. Not yet.
Can I take the other 4 steps of the 5-step exploding heart point technique thing?
Seems fine.
Cool.
What would you have done if you shot your pants?
Oh my god,
Just explosive shit. I'd be like, kill me now. Kill me now, take it away.
I have to bring out the code template for that.
A very dedicated marathon runner.
Area of effect.
Can I close the rest of the distance to him?
Sure. It's 30. Yep.
I want to try the bear hug again. I want to grapple him.
Okay. So go ahead, and I think it's your athletics versus his
So I can touch him now.
acrobatics. I'm pretty sure.
The wisdom saving throw was something in the beginning.
Yeah, I think it was I like the idea that it's silent in here and we're just hearing Sam get kicked around and Grog breathing like a bull.
I like to think that
There's lots
Earthbreaker
of-
Groon has like mood music for his fights.
There's frustrated
Yeah.
grunts.
He's got a sound
So make
system.
an athletics check.
War drums?
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
sick.
Totally.
24. Plus 16 plus 8.
Yeah, okay, so you go to grab him, and he just slips out.
Damn. Hit my athletics versus his. Judo?
He just kind of like parries it to the side, ducks under, and rights himself.
Oh, shit.
Just out of your grasp.
Cool. That was nice. Do I have a second attack?
Yeah.
Two-handed great weapon master, please.
Okay.
Try it.
Go for it.
That's not gonna hit. 24.
24 hits.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Oh, 23. That's right. Thank you, go. No, it doesn't. 24 minus 5.
Oh, minus 5. Yeah, good job. So as you go to swing both of your hands on the hammer, giant downward arc. As it slams downward, you see his form just kind of shift, and suddenly he's 2 feet to the right. He moves so fast with a sidestep, and you slam it down to the sand. You guys watch as this crater emerges, and poof, all the sand kind of just shoots off the sides from the impact of Grog's blow onto the ground. Groon seemingly unaffected.
That ends my,
Because you're not frenzy yet, right?
Nope, that ends my turn. Yep.
Okay. At the end of your turn, he's going to go ahead and make an unarmed attack on you.
Unarmed attack.
That's just his punch as part of his legendary action here. So that is a 27 to hit.
Oh, it hits.
You suffer another 10 points of legendary damage, reduced to 5.
Okay.
Now it's Groon's turn.
2 layer actions.
He's going to go ahead and...
I wish he had layer actions,
He's going to do a series
dude.
of attacks on you. That is a an 18.
Yep. Yeah, that hits.
17.
Hits also.
All right. So that is 9 plus 8. Take that'd be 17. So we'll say 9 points of bludgeoning, and then 18. So another 9 points of bludgeoning damage. He is then going to. I need you to go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw.
Damn, Gina.
Nice pull.
21.
21. Okay. As his first hit is a long round, like haymaker punch across the chin. He comes from underneath and goes for an uppercut that hits you right in the jaw, right at the side where usually it would snap and really mess with somebody's ability to stay either conscious or control their atmosphere. You just manage to move out of the way where it hurts, but the impact doesn't hit its intended place, and you resist the effect.
What was the effect?
You don't know.
God damn it.
Diarrhea.
Instant knockout.
I
And
shit my pants
the
when I
button.
on the button.
Hit the button.
It's the brown note.
It's your turn.
My turn. I'm so tired of this slippery shit. I go into a frenzy rage.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I would like the great weapon master try to hit him with the dwarven thrower.
Go for it.
Not reckless. No. I don't know what the lesson is.
Dude, even the other players are like, he's like, I go into a frenzied rage, and then he looks at the other players and like, yeah, cause motherfuck, dude, I think there is an interesting lesson in here about even if you are going for a like Dragon Ball Z style sort of situation, this like, you know, this back and forth single target duel, I do think there's something to be said for making the other opponent not necessarily like a health tank, but prioritizing the opponent's health over their like AC. Like if there's a question, give them higher health as opposed to higher AC. And that's like a general adversary monster philosophy in D&D, because you want players to be able to hit more, to be able to like roll damage and all that shit. But I think that philosophy is even more important in this sort of Duel of the Fates style shit. And yeah, I think that's it. That's it. Because there is just, it's already kind of feels bad. Oh, the other thing. I think this is especially true if you are going up against something like a martial, or specifically, I guess, a martial with no saving throw-esque abilities. Like if they are just making attack rolls the whole time, I think that philosophy gets ticked up another notch of importance. Because if you're going against a wizard or a warlock or even Gunslinger Percy over here that has abilities that are hinge on saving throws, that health versus AC discussion is less important. But for someone like Grog, that is like attack rolls and that is it. And we're dueling. It's like I would give Groon a fuckload of health, but not nearly as much AC as I might give the same character if they're facing off against a different PC. Because the high AC and them just missing over and over and over is just, it is. There's just no feeling of like progress or momentum or anything. So I don't know, man. The first pit fight with the fist only was kind of fun, but it got old for me after that. I can agree with you there, yeah. Warlock subclass is Genie all the way for me. I also like Fathomless. Goo is my favorite of the PHBs. Fiend is bottom tier for me. Fiend is pretty bottom tier. It's fine. Like I don't really dislike any of the Warlock subclasses. I really wish that Hexblade was not abusable. I wish that the Hexblade's level 3 power is it level 3? Yeah. I wish that Hexblade's level 3 was not so good. Because it leads people into multi-classing Hexblade a lot, and I have an aversion to anything that is like meta or anything like that. But I love the flavor of Hexblade. Like I think the flavor of Hexblade is super, super cool. Celestial's fine. I think Celestial is very interesting. But it is also, I think, one of the subclasses that is the most setting dependent and like world building and lore dependent to like make it interesting. Because like what is the distinction between a Celestial Warlock and a Cleric? If there is no distinction, then I think Celestial Warlock is very boring. If there is an actual distinction, Celestial Warlock is super, super cool. So I think it's maybe the most setting dependent of the Warlocks. And then of the PHBs, I like Goo, Archfey for a very particular archetype of character I like a lot. Fiend is fine. And then I love me a Fathomless. But Fathomless is not quite as like world building dependent, but I think Fathomless is very like where you are in the world dependent. Like Fathomless is super neat and it doesn't require water, but it definitely like it either requires water or it requires some sort of addressment of why you're not around water. And then I love Genie. Genie is so sick. Genie's Vessel is not the most powerful of Warlock abilities, but in my opinion, Genie's Vessel is maybe the coolest Warlock ability. Warlock subclass ability, I should say. Genie's Vessel is so cool. It's so fun. There are, I don't want to say limitless quite, but there are so many shenanigans you can get up to with the Genie's Vessel. But even if it's not even, I think one of the reasons that I love Genie's Vessel so much is because it has a lot of the creativity of like, say, a minor illusion or a mage hand. But it also just has like a baseline value that it gives. So even if you're not feeling particularly creative that day, it still is just baseline good. And then it has all of these additional creative shenanigans you can do with it. I love it. I love Genie, man. Archfey, that's a good one. Nice. Fathomless is good. I love Fathomless. Genie's so fun. Oh my god. Fathomless is good. Fathomless is like very similar to goo. It's like water goo, but I do still love it. I've longed to build an Eladrin Archfey Warlock. Oh yeah, yeah. That's why I say Archfey is maybe the Warlock subclass that I think is can be the most like character build interesting. Like I think for a particular type of Warlock, Archfey is the most interesting. But for another like character, like type of Warlock, separate from the world building and the setting, Archfey is much less cool. Yeah. Kashaw would be the perfect Celestial Warlock. Honestly, you're spitting. I think you are dead correct. Especially with like the unwilling nature of his warship, quote unquote. Yeah, man. If Celestial Warlock was out when Critical Role Campaign 1 was going on, I think Kashaw is maybe the archetypical Celestial Warlock and is like a really great example of why I think that like Celestial Warlock can be so interesting. But it like really requires the deity in question to be interesting within the context of the setting. Which Kashaw's deity and like the relationship that they have is very novel and unique. It's not like Kashaw worships the fucking Raven Queen. Yeah. He is kinda like maybe the archetypical Celestial Warlock. Yeah. Yeah. A player in my game was a Fathomless Warlock, and he eventually asked the DM to switch because it just didn't fit the setting. Yup. And that's what's tough. That's why I can't put Fathomless as my favorite. I think Fathomless is super neat, very cool, but just is a little setting dependent. Yeah. Yeah. I usually have Celestial Warlock packed to a powerful Celestial that represents one aspect of their god. Example is like an angel of a god of war, only focusing on the battle part and nothing else. Sure. I think that works. Yeah. I think it is like the Fathomless in that you have to do a little bit of work. There's a little bit of context that needs to go into it. But if you put in that work and if you're interested in that, it can be very interesting and very cool. I think Celestial does have Revivify. I think you're right. I'm not going to take the time to look it up. The second time I say that. I do think that I do think Celestials have Revivify, but I'm not sure. Mega, what's your distinction on Warlock and Cleric? Side note, can patrons have multiple domains? My distinction on Cleric and Warlock is that Clerics do not have a deal with their god. They do not have a contract. Like, it's sort of the distinction of, like, if you volunteer your time for an organization and they happen to, like, give you water and snacks while you're there. And maybe you eventually, get more managerial power and positioning, but you're still, like, a volunteer at the end of the day. And you're just doing it because you believe in the organization, as opposed to if you are a freelancer that same organization like hires and pays money in order to do this work for them, and they are like giving an exchange of goods and services in order for you to provide that labor and that work. Clerics get power as a byproduct of the relationship. It's not the point of their relationship. They just believe in the cause. It's a loyalty reward program. Yeah, you get a little punch card as a cleric. Whereas a warlock, like, maybe they believe in the mission, but, like, first and foremost, they're there for the power. They're not, like, maybe they do fuck with the entity that they've pacted with, that they've just so happened to pact with. But they are not they're not there for that entity. They're there for the power that that entity can give them. You know, if that's my distinction, or at least that's how I run the distinction in my campaign. And I think like let's say that you were like pacted to the Raven Queen as like a celestial warlock. I think that if you eventually started fucking with her mission, like actually, like maybe you got into it as like a contract and then you actually started to buy into the tenets, maybe then you could multi-class into paladin, or maybe you could multi-class into cleric. You know, I think there can be a sort of side-by-side relationship there. But the warlock, I think, definitionally is transactional in nature, whereas a cleric is not. At least, again, the way that I run it. That is the distinction and how I run it. I think you can also have multiple other distinctions. I think there's a lot of different ways to categorize the relationship. I think it is also valid if you don't want to distinguish between them. If you want to say that in fiction, clerics and warlocks are exactly the same, there is like the fictional feel of them is exactly the same. They are just like different expressions of power. I think that's valid. I think it flattens some of the lore and some of like the interesting part of the warlock. And I think that it is somewhat dissonant with how the warlock is designed. I think the warlock, and specifically the invocations and the boon structure, is purposefully reminiscent of a contract. But I think if you want to say clerics, paladins, warlocks, I think if you want to say they're all the same, they are just different expressions or like different orders of religious worship, and like a singular temple could have a warlock, a paladin, and a cleric that are all like equal worshipers of that god in that temple. They're just like different, I don't know, like specialized units. I think that's fair. And if that's like the type of lore you want to run in your setting, I think that's totally valid and that can work. Especially if you want to run a type of setting where magic has like a singular root that is maybe separated from the gods, or maybe the gods are a little bit different or maybe weirder. I think if you want to go with like a broadly unified theme of like, yeah, like wizards and sorcerers are like, you know, basically the same. The sorcerers just like unlock their magic naturally. They're just naturals, whereas the wizards have to like work at it. If you want to try and like smash all of the flavor of the classes together into these little like Triscuit cookies, I think that's fine. That can be interesting, but it's not the way that I go with it. Because there's supposed to be a distinction between celestial and gods. I don't, and if we want to talk about a distinction that I don't find that interesting, I don't find that distinction super interesting. So, and I think that is reflected in how I handle warlocks and clerics. I don't find that I know that you are correct. To be clear, I know that you're correct. I don't find that overly compelling as a distinction. Like the differing, you know, broad things. I find the relationship that mortals and beings of power have with each other, I find that more interesting than an actual delineation amongst beings of power, which is basically what celestial and gods, like the distinction between those things actually mattering is a like categorization and distinctions and granularity amongst entities of power and like godly pantheons. And I don't find that overly compelling. Which, again, I think is reflected in how I personally distinguish warlocks and clerics. But it might be different otherwise, yeah. Do not like Fiend's features or flavor. Both, they're fine. Like I wouldn't say I don't like it. On my scale of like -5, I really hate it. +5, I really love it. A Fiend is like a 2. Like, I like it more than I don't, but I don't know, it's fine. I'm not like overly compelled by anything about it. It's solid, like it does what it does, but I'm not particularly interested in it. My Celestial Warlock multiclass with Cleric. They are a priest of the blood torture god and only use the spell Life Transference to heal people. He's more like an old school battlefield medic. I feel that, yeah. Should powerful archmages be able to be a patron? Okay, so there's a warlock subclass we haven't brought up, which is the Undying, which it depends. The short answer is it depends. There are not very many subclasses that would fit that. The Undying is probably the closest, but also the Undying sucks. So, I don't know. If you wanted them to be, they could. And you could make like a wizard-themed warlock subclass that like maybe enhance their Book of Shadows into like more of a spellbook type situation. I certainly think that would not be a difficult warlock subclass to make. I'll say that. But I don't think that any of the existing ones particularly fit. And I think that like the Archmage would need to be so powerful as to be like a quasi-lich. Because like the Lich is like one of the classic like Undying patrons. But again, Undying sucks. So I don't know. I wonder if the main aspect of clerics isn't that they're attuned to their deity rather than the belief. Otherwise, they'd be charisma-based like paladins, who believe so hard it gives them powers. Well, paladins are also not necessarily religious. They just believe in their oath. And if we want to get real about it, I think you can take some lore implications from the primary casting trait of any particular class. But I also wouldn't take it too far to the bank, because there is also like a meta rationale for why certain classes have certain casting traits. Because they wanted it to be fairly balanced. So I do think you make a good point, but I'll put a little asterisk on the point of I actually do think it would make more sense if clerics were charisma casters, but they wouldn't want 4 classes to be charisma casters. So I think that's more where we get to with that. But I also think I think wisdom can make sense for clerics because they do have a more like, they believe because they think it makes sense rather than the paladin's like strength of conviction. Yeah. Like they choose to believe. Where is the open hand monk on the -5 to 5? Are we comparing it to other monk subclasses or to all subclasses? Because I'll give both. Compared to other monk subclasses, open hand is like a 2 or 3. I think it's pretty good. Like, especially its level 3 ability is pretty interesting. If we're comparing it to all subclasses, I am not hot on the monk subclasses. So if we're comparing it to all subclasses, it's going to be like a -2 or 3. I don't feel that strongly about it either way, but it's not high. Either Lich or Elminster. Yeah, Elminster can count. Yeah. There's also undead, which is better mechanically and same flavor, but not inherent to mage. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Undead is undead, but undead wouldn't make as much sense for a mage. It is kind of interesting that there isn't really one that would work, but also like within at least the broad design of Warlock, it's not really meant to target mortals, even very powerful mortals. It's mostly meant to target, like, for patrons at least, extraplanar deities or extraplanar entities that I broadly call people of power, beings of power, entities of power. So yeah. If Wizard were a Warlock patron, they'd have to be higher than level 20. I agree with that. Yeah. There are already 4 charisma casters: Bard, Paladin, Sorcerer, Warlock. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there are any other like subclasses, because Fighter and Rogue subclass, like Trickster and Eldritch Knight, are both intelligence. Ranger is Wiz, Druid is Wiz, Artificer is Int. So yeah, I think, but they also, I think the bigger thing, even beyond Paladin, is that, yeah, Paladin is like that half caster. So disregarding subclasses, only considering half and full casters, yeah, they've got 4. Whereas Intelligence has 2, Wisdom has... Ranger is half, so Wiz has 3. Am I forgetting any? I think that's it. Yeah. I want to make old wizard NPC who runs on 3.5 mechanics in a 5.5 game and give players a choice to have this old wizard be a patron, but I'm not sure if it's too gimmicky to be any good. I like gimmicks personally. Like I enjoy a good gimmick. It's the same thing. I really like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure stands because they are just in your face symbolism. Like if you watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 4, those stands are so like for example, without you even having to seen it, the stands are like these, basically the magic system in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And the character that is the right-hand man to the protagonist, his stand is called the Hand, and the Hand's right hand is where his entire, like, power exists. He, like, swipes the air with his right hand, and it, like, does shit. And it is, like, direct in-your-face symbolism. But frankly, I think that's really cool because it allows them to have that really in-your-face symbolism, but I think it allows them to get some complicated messages across because the symbolism is so in your face. They can use those symbols in interesting ways because the players in the audience already have an intuition for what they mean. So when something happens to the Hand, or when something happens to that character, it's clear on, like, or not clear, I should say, but, like, it's more clear on, like, a meta symbolic level, like, what is going on here. Like, the themes are much easier to communicate, and it's easier to communicate possibly complex themes through that. So I don't think there's anything wrong with a good gimmick as long as you are intentional with it. It's like, why are you doing that? What are you trying to communicate with it? Why are you trying to communicate that particular thing? And I think a gimmick can be a good way to, like, keep yourself, like, direct and constrained within that. Stands with a D, because they stand beside you. It's a very weird justification for why they're called stands, but that is what they're called. Yeah. Wait, unless I'm wrong, Paladin, Bard, Zork, Warlock. Yeah. Yeah. We should know better than to get Megan talking about Warlocks. Look, man, I love me a Warlock. Yeah. Or like how Echoes represents Koichi learning to assert himself. Precisely. Yes. Absolutely, Mr. Dad. The growth of Echoes is a very clear and direct example of Koichi's growth as a character and how his strength of personality grows across the arc. And like when he's learning to like mark people, he's learning to like leave his stamp and his impression upon the world. And eventually he becomes the person who is like the most assertive in a situation. He is the highest degree of like natural presence when he walks into a room. He even gets the fucking Dragon Ball Z haircut. Yes. 100%, Mr. Dad. Yep. I have a whole script about this that I wanted to make into a talking head video at some point, but then I never did. I still might someday. I truly think that JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is a beginner's guide to symbolism. And I mean that the best way. Like, it is, part 3 is also so, again, I mean it in like a loving, good way, because I love this part of it. Part 3 beats you over the head with its symbolism. Like, literally, in the case of fucking Jotaro. It's awesome. Yeah, man. Fucking Star Platinum is like the entire embodiment of Jotaro's entire personality. It's so cool. Anyways, that's all. But let's get back to the show. But if you truly are like, I don't know how to put symbolism into my stories, I legitimately recommend. I think it's tough because I think the symbolism of one of the characters in particular, Joseph, is not as clear in part 3 if you haven't seen part 1 and 2. But part 1 and 2 also... So if you're looking to watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I would start at part 3. And then if you're interested, if you get into it, then watch part 1 and 2. And you'll understand Joseph's symbolism a little bit better. And like, to be clear also, JoJo's has a lot of issues. But I think if you're really looking at like, how do I put symbolism into my stories? JoJo's is so direct with it in a way that is awesome. Parasite, I need to watch Parasite. I've heard just nothing but good things about it, and I really need to watch it. Yeah. For symbolism in animation, I recommend original FLCL, and it's all symbolic storytelling. Without noticing the symbolism, it's hard to tell what's going on, but if you do, it makes a lot of sense. Or I mean, if we're even like listing off shows, Full Metal Alchemist. Full Metal Alchemist, the main, at least the lieutenants of the main villain are the 7 deadly sins. Like, the symbolism of that is like hard to ignore in Full Metal. So yeah, it's super fucking good. I know, I've heard just absolutely nothing but great things about Parasite. I need to watch it. The Play Inspector Calls as well as goated. Interesting. Inspector Calls. I've never even heard of that. Ooh, that one's going on the list. I love over-the-top symbology. That's one of my favorite things in a story. Because, again, I am of the opinion that it then allows you to tell sometimes more interesting stories because you had that over-the-top symbology. Anyways.
32 minus 5 is 37.
27?
27. Okay. Yeah. 32 minus 5 is 37. 10, 25, 35.
Which, it's really short. It's really short. I actually think that is also a compliment that you can give to Campaign 1 Vox Machina. Truly. I think that, like, we sometimes mention how the C1 characters are more archetypical. Like they are archetypes of like a lot of like 5-man band sort of things, especially Grog. I think Grog is maybe the most archetypical of the archetypes. But like I've heard broadly like even compared to like campaigns 2 and 3, which I don't know a lot about those obviously or the characters, but I have heard that campaign 1 has the most archetypical characters of any of the campaigns. And that can be, you know, a downside in some ways. But I think one of the reasons that can be very interesting is because what you do with that can be very interesting. What you do with an archetypical character who has this very clear symbology can be really interesting. Like Grog's entire arc. Grog's entire arc is incredibly simple. He is a strong guy who learns that his strength comes from outside of him. That's not complicated, but so far it's my favorite in the entire story. Because the details of how that happens can be so cool. So yeah, subtlety is for cowards. I love subtlety, but also directness. Yeah, I think really well done subtlety can be really interesting and really fun, but also I think it's frankly harder than well done directness. I think well done directness, I don't want to say it is easier, but I think it can be easier to tell really cool and interesting stories within. FLCL, Foolery Coolery. What? An Allison boy starts growing guitar robots out of his head when an alien woman invades his home and hits his forehead with a guitar. For sure. For sure. Okay. Yeah. With that.
Okay. This one cracks him right across the side of his shoulder and pec area. Wham! You watch as for the first time since this battle started, he loses his footing and has to catch himself behind. His head looks back and turns around towards you, and a big smile goes across his face as he goes, "Good, keep showing me."
I was encouraged until he got creepy with the talking.
Maybe he just likes getting hit.
All right, hit him again. That's gonna hit. That's a 31 minus 5 is 26.
Yeah, good roll damage.
7, 22, 32.
32, nice.
He's got like 5,000 hit points. More than
Last one, reckless.
Okay.
What's life without a little spicy?
Sure.
Let's ask him.
Oh, 18, not quite. 34, 29. That's it. Close. That's what I wanted. This is 23. So 33.
Okay, cool. All right, so as you unleash this next series of blows against him, each, as you saw on top from the first hit, the other two, he pulls his arms in and takes him one to the shoulder, the other one hits him in the stomach, poof, and he grabs your arm and pushes off, jumps in the air and lands about 5 feet from you, as he uses his...
Is he like bruised? Is there like a slap mark? I mean, is there any blood? Anything to tell me about me doing a good job?
He looks, more so than the previous fight you had with him, it looks like he's starting to take some hits.
Good, yeah.
He's going to use legendary action to take a hit on you. That is a 30. Actually, it's with advantage, because...
Yep.
So that is another 9 points of bludgeoning damage.
Sweet.
Not half. That is what it is half.
Okay.
It'll be 18, yeah.
Right.
Okay, his turn. He slowly walks around.
So he also has legendary actions and player abilities? You know, I'm not going to be too down on it in a way that I might have been down on, like, say, Raishan. Because Groon is not an adversary in the same kind of way that Raishan was an adversary. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is an adversary, but in a helpful... Not a helpful way. That's not quite the right word for it. But in a more... You know, it's for story, man. I know. And that is like the... I guess what I'm trying to say is I can be more forgiving of Groon being unbalanced because Groon is not actively trying to kill Grog. Because the big risk of unbalancing an adversary is that you unbalance them to the degree that they accidentally kill the player in an unsatisfying way. If Groon defeats Grog here, he's not going to kill him, and Grog can try again later. And then you can have this repetitive sort of growth within Grog, where once he does finally overcome it, it feels really great. So I think there's way more room. I don't want to say you can't overtune an NPC like Groon, but your margin for overtuning him is way higher than your margin for undertuning him. You don't want to make him a pushover. Because the main thing here is he's a mentor. He's a, mentor is a good way to put it, but he's also kind of this, he's sort of this aspirational, like, goal, like, yardstick mile marker for Grog. And so undertuning him, I think, has way more risk of less satisfaction than overtuning him. Like, I think if the campaign ends and Grog never defeats Groon, I think that's okay. Because it just shows that, like, yeah, even over the course of the campaign, I didn't reach my peak. I still had more learning to do symbolically. And I think that's cool. I think that's totally fine. So, you know, legendary actions with all these player abilities, that's very powerful. I don't even need to go down the list of reasons why. But I'm way more cool with Groon being overtuned, because even if he does kick Grog's ass, he's going to non-lethal him, and Grog can try again later. And that's cool. That's totally fine.
And says, "Your size is useful for those who know not how to use it against you." And he rushes down beneath your large standing form and goes into a series of strikes against the inside of your knees and your legs. And we'll see how the last blow hits. That's a 30.
My enlarged damage.
Yeah, that's a 30 on the first hit.
Yep.
That is a 21 on the second hit.
Yes, sir.
Dude, and this is something that I wish Daggerheart doesn't really have this either. It would be so interesting to read a TTRPG and like read rules for a TTRPG in which fight choreography actually mattered. Because we talked about fight choreography a little bit last stream. And for those of you who maybe don't know what I'm exactly saying when I say fight choreography, it's like Ip Man. I'm just gonna. This is like my immediate thought when I think of fight choreography. This is what I think of. There's probably all sorts of other movies, games, TV shows where this is present, but I think of Ip Man. And I'm gonna mute it just in case. I still will not be able to show very much of it. He's a teacher. I teach Kung Fu. What is this? Is this Ip Man 4? Wait. Oh, it is Ip Man 4. But yeah, you see, like that was an amazing example of fight choreography. Watch him like punch and catch this right here. Yeah, that punch and then this catch, that pull back and catch on the fist. Ooh, that's great. Love that. Yeah. So that is like when I talk about fight choreography, that's the sort of thing that I mean. You also see it in a lot of anime. They brought up Dragon Ball Z earlier. A lot of like fight centered anime. Also like One Punch Man. Like that sort of fight choreography is what makes those sorts of properties really sing. Anything Jackie Chan, yeah. Raid, yep. Absolutely. Even for maybe a more modern example that maybe more of the Zoomers in chat might be more familiar with, John Wick. John Wick is an amazing example of a movie franchise that is really built off of fight choreography. Bruce Lee, absolutely. And D&D does not have fight choreography. Just like flat out, it doesn't. I had to think about it a little bit on stream the other day, and then I thought about it more, and I was like, nope, 0%. It has some abstractions that kind of imply fight choreography, like the fighters, or not the fighter. The fighting style parry kind of implies fight choreography. Flurry of blows sort of implies it, but there is no actual fight choreography. For that sort of thing, you would need like targeted shots. You would need targeted defenses. Like you would need to like take on different stances and like try to predict certain things that you don't know are happening. That like you would need all of those sorts of systems. And I would be fascinated. And I encourage anyone who is aware of a TTRPG that has like honest to God fight choreography mechanics to put them down in the comments. Yes, and I agree with Hellmantle. The closest that I have ever gotten to seeing fight choreography in a we have ads in a minute.
Ads incoming, take cover.
But I 100% agree. The closest thing that I've ever seen, which is not a core mechanic in D&D, is called shots. And the closest TTRPG that I've seen that really implements called shots really well is Tales from Elsewhere's Clockworld. Clockworld has called shots as like a core part of its combat system. And it is the closest TTRPG that I have seen to implementing fight choreography. I think if you asked Peter, oh God, it was Peter, right? I hope I didn't get his name wrong. It's a P name. Wait. I want to make really sure because I really liked him and I don't want to get his name wrong. Tales from Elsewhere. No. Okay, I'm just going to call him Tales from Elsewhere from now on. I'm sorry if I got your name wrong. What's up? Hello. All right, we're back. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, Clock World. It's really good, and you should check it out. And it is the system that I've seen that is implemented called shots the most effectively. And I'm not saying I have a comprehensive knowledge of like TTRPGs and how they've implemented various mechanics, but I really did love Clockworld's implementation of called shots, and I do think that called shots as a mechanic are the closest I've ever seen to a TTRPG implementing fight choreography. But again, if someone else has one that they've read that they think is interesting or has like maybe a different take on it, put it down in the comments because I'm interested. But like Turning Into a Crazy Dolphin said, yeah, the animators have to get a little creative with it. Anyways.
That is a 29 on the third hit.
How many hits are there?
4.
And a natural 20 on the fourth.
Wow, I had to reckless, huh? Yeah, cool.
Oh, right.
Vegas is a short trip this time.
So that is 18 reduced in half to 9.
Okay.
That is 14 reduced in half to 7.
Okay.
That is a 9 reduced in half to 5. And then final strike is... That is 20 reduced in half, that is 10.
Could I use my stone's endurance on that last one?
Sure, go for it.
All right. That's 12 plus my constitution, which is 5, so 17.
And I would like you to make another constitution save, if you don't mind.
Shit. So do I add 17 hit points back?
You, well, no, you reduce the attack, it was 10 damage.
Yeah, so just
wipe it out.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'll get down there.
Really?
Constitution saving throw.
Yeah.
18.
18.
10 plus 10 minus 2 is 18.
Okay. You feel from that impact, all your muscles seize up. He goes for the same strike zone on the other side of the chin. It hits, and you kind of, as you pull back, and then feel all of a sudden this pulse. The pulse. All your muscles tense up. You're stunned until the end of your next turn.
Shit.
What does being stunned do? You can't move?
Can't move, can't do anything. You're considered
The Vulcan pitch.
Groons in Vegas and your eyes just came up pineapples.
I'm gonna pull an arrow out and just stand there and get ready in case Green does anything.
Okay. Gurn is going to go ahead and step back. To there.
What?
Oh.
That should be there.
He's waiting for you to become unstunned.
Okay.
And as he kind of just darts back, you guys watch as he runs to the back, as he does his feet barely touch the sand. See these very faint little plumes behind each footstep as this giant man has almost no weight across the ground. He runs with such speed. And as he lands and finds his footing, the weight seems to kick in once more. And you watch as the sand shoots out behind him. He stands there and crosses his arms and just watches. So, Grog, it's your turn. You're stunned. You end your turn, you're no longer stunned. It's now back to him.
Fuck.
He puts his hand up. Puts it up towards you. Closes his fingers.
Oh no, I've seen this before.
And you feel this in your chest, right in the sternum where he hit you earlier. I need you to go ahead and roll a Constitution saving throw again.
God. 23 minus 2, 21. Ooh.
21.
Ooh. Constitution I have a lot of in my saving throws.
That sound ripples out. You feel the muscles begin to tear. The ligaments begin to burn from the inside. You manage to, through the sheer force of physical constitution, shrug off what would have been an immensely more deadly circumstance, but you still do take 10d10 necrotic damage.
Oh! What did you say?
No, you would have dropped to 0 hit points.
Yeah.
Oh, shit!
Is that the palm the thing?
Quivering palm. He's not holding back this time.
Oh, no!
Oh, I mean, don't make these special
That's
exceptions on my
15.
part.
Max is watching, he just leaked a little bit.
Gross.
18, 26.
No one will ever notice the armor already stinks.
52. Take 51 points of necrotic damage.
52?
51 points of necrotic damage.
No, again.
Okay.
How much damage?
51 points of necrotic damage.
I'm out of the triple digits, guys.
Oh, man.
Wow. Does Grog look all bloody yet, or is
You
he...
guys watch as Grog's under his body shakes and shimmers, and you watch various veins that usually bulge in his rage and like the enhanced blood flow of his combat just burst in places, and blood just seems to spray out of him from multiple positions on his body. And as you see the blood leaking all over him, he's just covered in his own crimson. He slowly turns around, prepares himself for the next round of combat.
That is some North Star shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
1 second. I was doing something over the break, and then Paige, I was cleaning out the fan of dust during the break. And then Paige opened the door and is looking at all of the dust across the floor. And I need to vacuum it real quick. 1 second. I need to vacuum it because now the door's open and I want to leave the door open because it's very fucking hot in here, but I don't want the dogs to eat dust. Because the dogs absolutely would just walk in here and see a bunch of like dust and be like, ooh, yummy snack. And like, I don't know that it would actually do anything to them, but I don't want to take the risk.
Okay, cool. Good deal. Tight. Wow, distance doesn't help. Okay.
Can you talk to him?
Can you talk to him?
I just look up like covered like Carrie in the movie, just drinking big blood.
Never mind, you're doing great, Rob. Keep going.
Sometimes music calms the savage beast. You could sing to him.
I would try intimidating presence, but he'll just shrug it off because he's amazing.
It's fine. It looks like he's gonna rally. Here it comes.
Yeah.
I just take off straight for him.
Okay, turn around.
Oh my god.
10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 45, 50. You just get up in a melee with him.
Cool. Awesome. I'm going to take all 3 attacks at Great Weapon Master at him. Not reckless.
Okay. Go make your attacks at disadvantage.
Why?
Because I'm covered in blood?
No, because he uses patient defense.
Patient defense.
Essentially, with each blow that you swing towards him, he's just prepared himself from a defensive position to prepare himself, and he's using your own momentum against you to sway every attack away from him. So make all your attacks at disadvantage.
That's pretty smart. I threw that literally into the holder and it was on an edge. Shit. That's a natural 20. That's going to be replaced by a...
Oh god.
23 minus 5. So that'll be...
Nope.
Yeah.
So the first blow swings wide. He grabs the actual side of the hammer with both hands and just throws it off to the side.
Okay. 31 minus 5, 26.
26. He attempts to parry this one. However, your sheer force of strength managed to push past his grasp, and you bring the hammer down towards his clavicle. Go ahead and roll damage.
Oh, thank God. I look at when I hit them. That's 18, 28 plus enlarge, which I've been forgetting.
Oh,
20.
18 plus
All right.
10 because of your
18 plus 10 for Great Weapon Master, 28, 30.
30. You said 20.
I said 20, I meant 30.
It's 30.
You meant 30.
My apologies. He is hitting me really, really hard.
Yeah. And your brain is already so little.
It's actually large, it just doesn't do much.
Oh, well.
If you're using your bonus action, you can do one more strike in it.
I would like to.
Go for it.
That's disadvantage.
Mostly just bacon fat.
That's 1.
Nope. So the second one does hit the clavicle, and it kind of cracks it, and you see a little bit of blood kind of spill out the corner of his mouth and his chin, and he kind of looks up at you, and for a second there, the whites of his eyes seem to almost dim ever so slightly into a moment of humanity you haven't seen in him yet. He's been this godlike entity, and it's the first point where you see that pain show just a hint of any sort of weakening. And he kind of looks right up into you. Good. And as you go for your third strike, he literally puts his hand out and catches the hammer in place.
Oh God, it's so awesome.
Just holds it there as he stares at you.
Yeah. I'm checking reflexes. Good. I want you to know, I'm not afraid to go down.
That is the first lesson. Let's see if your words can be put into practice. Oh, for his turn.
Good
He's,
night.
No.
We'll see you in the morning. Sleep well,
I
friends.
hope you get a popcorn kernel on your teeth.
he is going to, let's see.
Go Cobra Kai on your ass.
Cobra Kai. Sweep the leg, Johnny.
Never dies.
Yeah, he's going to go into a flurry of blows against you. That's a natural 20. That is a 18. That's a 26.
But they all hit.
Yeah, those all hit. Okay, so the first one is 18. Reduced to half is 9.
9, okay.
That is a 9, reduced to half 5.
Okay.
That is a 12, reduced to 6.
Okay.
And that is a 13, reduced to 7.
Sweet. Real excited.
And he's just going to go ahead and rotate around you to the opposite side. As he turns around, hitting you as he goes, each hit. I need you to go ahead and make a strength saving throw. You have advantage on these because you're raging.
Yeah, I'm doing. But I still have -2 to him.
This is true.
Minus 2?
That's better. 23 minus 2, 21.
21, okay, yeah. So the last blow as he comes around, there's a roundhouse kick and rings back and goes for a huge double-fisted kind of earth-side punch into your torso. It's about to push you backward, but you dig in your feet and resist it and hold it in place.
Look who's catching who now.
Now it's your turn.
He didn't have a quick back from me. Okay. Right. I would like to turn so I'm facing him.
Okay.
I want to pick him up and try and body slap him.
Okay. Go ahead and make an athletics check.
Okay. 24.
Now that's a 30 acrobatics. You go to grab, and he steps back with his arms still crossed, leaps onto your hands as you reach out for him, and just jumps in the air, looks down at you before he comes landing right on top of your hands, forcing your fists into the dirt. What's he going to do for your next attack?
I almost drop out of my rage because I'm like, that was a real dick move. Like, it's just dunking
He's
on
like
me.
jumping and crossing his arms.
He did the Kill Bill like on my hands. I want to try one more time.
All right, roll again.
20.
You remember you have advantage on these because you're raging.
That doesn't matter.
Okay, that is a 24 acrobatics. As you pull your hands up out of the dirt, reaching out for him with these giant Titanstone gauntlet encrusted fingers, and the sand burst goes upward, you reach and find nothing but sand. And as the sand fades, he uses his... Is this the return? You saw that?
I saw the third one, yeah.
Okay, so as the sand is still cascading out, you can see his shape through it. What are you doing with your third strike?
I just want to try and grab a hold of the slippery bastard.
Okay, one more time.
Yeah. Strength advantage or just a natural roll?
Advantage on your athletics.
Okay.
God, bro, it's running in circles.
26.
He only rolled a 24. With the sand there kind of coming down from the impact of you pulling your fists out, you reach out, and finally they find purchase on the sides of his arms. And in doing so, you pull him in and grasp him right to your chest. The hammer's still clutched in your right hand, and you watch as he gets pulled in now. And yeah, he is firmly in your grasp. He's currently grappled.
Cool. I don't say anything. I'm just really stoked that I actually got him. But check a picture! Whatever that is!
Should I flash him?
You want to make this into a body slam?
Could I?
Okay.
I was thinking initially I'd like remove one of his 5 hits that he takes on me, but who gives a shit?
We'll say for the purpose of this, you grab. Since you're in 10 body slam, go ahead and roll an attack with disadvantage.
Okay, attack with disadvantage. That's not that great. Oh, regular attack.
It's not your weapon bonus.
Right.
I mean, one's as good as the other.
It's -3.
Yeah. 22.
22. You grab him and you lift, and it's like he's anchored to the ground. He's much smaller than you, and you can lift things far larger and denser than him, but for some reason, he won't budge an inch. And just staring up at you with his arms pressed to his sides.
I want to learn that trick.
I'm still gonna grapple at
I
least.
want that.
That's it.
All right.
I like you'd have to be like crouched down in order to like be grappling you. It's like the possum trick.
Let's just assume that I like picked him up. I'm just hoping to grapple. Or am I like squatting?
You're like squatting down and grabbing him. You went to lift him up, he wouldn't budge.
Hugging Santa's little helper. Sorry.
As you're holding him,
Kage, man.
he
He's not
closes his
going
eyes.
He closes his eyes.
Close his eyes.
And you watch as this kind of warm, orangish white energy begins to just emanate from various parts of his body. Just here in the middle of the forehead, a little glimmer opens here, a little glimmer in the shoulder. These various chakra points begin to glow. And you watch as many of the bruises and bludgeons that you put upon his body and cuts begin to heal up.
Shit.
I want to be at level 21. Last 20 levels. 4 more years of this.
And he can't move, he's currently grappled. All right, so that's his turn. You go ahead.
I still haven't grappled?
Still
I still want to try to get him to the ground. I want to try and get him prone. Can I try a leg wrap? So I'm going to wrap my right leg around his and dive forward, trying to push him off balance onto his back.
I'll say go ahead and make another athletics check.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Matt is translating the interesting fight choreography that Travis is saying into D&D mechanics. Like, he translated the body slam into the grapple. He's translating this, like, leg sweep into a shove, which is how you get someone prone. Like, this is a common fighter maneuver. And Matt, like, real props to Matt. He's doing a great job at translating the cool flavor that Travis is saying to him into actual D&D mechanics and like actions. That is not that's not an explicitly easy thing to do. So very much kudos to Matt. And if you have a DM like Matt at your table, I think that this is a good way to act as a player in all aspects of D&D. Like, I've talked about, like, hey, don't, ask, can I roll X or can I roll Y? Just describe what you do. And then the DM will translate that into a roll, into a mechanic. Travis is essentially doing the same thing here, but for a fight. Now, I think it's harder in a fight, not necessarily because it's actually harder, but just because it's less common. So, again, kudos to Matt, because I know that he's not, on the grand scheme of things, the most experienced in 5e specifically. But perhaps, experience in other systems is translating over to this. So definitely, like, kudos to him for translating these into relatively uncommon fight mechanics. Because, like, I don't remember, at least, anyone at this point saying, like, I want to grapple them, I want to shove them. Maybe it's happened once or twice that I just can't quite remember. But this is... And it's also something that maybe he prepped for, knowing that this fight was coming. I could see that. But he's doing a great job at translating those things.
24.
24, you got 21. So we'll say for this, you go ahead, you'll be releasing the grapple, but you slam him on the ground and make him prone. So you manage to just rip him off of whatever weird center of gravity he's forced himself into, lift him over your head, and just pile drive him into the ground. Once again, you see just sand and dust kick up, and then you see just these 2 legs sticking up as you've basically planted him in the ground like a carrot. And he is currently prone on the ground. Yes.
Great. When he's prone, do I get advantage on attacks?
When he is prone, attack rolls against the creature you have advantage if you're within 5 feet. So
Great. Great weapon master, dwarven thrower. And I say, I want to know the answer to the legend! 29. Oh, yeah. That's 24.
24, that hits.
Okay.
Get him, big man!
Give him the chair!
20, 30, 20, 35.
35.
Plus the enlarged damage.
Real fast.
Okay, so that's your second attack.
Oh my god. Just goes over his head.
28 minus 5. 23.
23 just hits.
9. 24. 34. 38.
38. Ooh. Alrighty. So as you're shouting this, the first blow comes down. Whack! You're not even seeing him or seeing the impact. All you're seeing is sand and fury. The second and final blow, you bring up, as you bring it down, you feel something crack underneath. And you watch as you pull the hammer up again, he pushes off, and he's going to actually use the end of your turn. Are you going to move? It's up to you. You're gonna stay where you are.
No, I would be right there, just entranced that he's actually in the ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at the end of your turn, he's going to go ahead and use a legendary action to attack you.
I run.
That's 30. So that's it. All right, that's 18. Half to 9. Take 9 points of damage.
Okay.
I need you to make another Constitution saving throw.
Okay. Natural 20.
Wow.
Okay. As you pull up on the hammer, you can see now there's quite a bit of blood now out of his mouth, and there's a part of the chest where it's kind of pushed in, and you can see there's where the impact caused heavy bruising, and parts of the skin have just kind of broken open from impact. So now he's bleeding in places. You're bleeding all over the place.
Yeah.
So it's just this mess of two somewhat dressed humanoid men just covered in their own blood. It's
And blood
delightful.
and sand, it's
yeah,
amazing.
blood and sand. It just crusted everywhere. Kind of, yeah.
Be careful, that's how blood diseases are transferred.
Very
Be careful.
Sepsis.
He pushes off and manages to hit you in the sternum once again, the same place where the vibrations hit. However, this time you grab his hand as it gets there and it still hits you, but the gauntlets absorb the impact and prevent it from spreading through your body. That ends your turn. It's now his turn. He stands up from prone.
Damn, he did that to me on my turn.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
I will just say, this isn't something that would be probably intuitive to Matt, to be fair. But he didn't break the grapple. So his speed should be 0, which should mean that he can't get up. Now, the way that Matt described the flavor and all that, it makes sense and whatever. But theoretically, the maneuver that Travis/Grog just pulled off should actually have more benefit than Matt's even given him.
Holy shit. Natural 20 on my turn saved my life.
He's going to go ahead and hit you twice. That is a 18.
Hits.
And a 20. So,
Yeah, that hits.
So the first one...
That's it when he body slammed him, the grapple dropped. No, I know. It just shouldn't have. Is what I'm saying. Like, again, the way that he described it, it all makes sense. And I think he's doing a good job at translating the actions into mechanics. Generally. But that is like... If he is translating what Travis said into a shove, that shouldn't have broken the grapple. But it's all... I don't want to say I don't care, but I think much like overtuning Groon in general, getting the exact mechanics exactly right, you have a much wider margin of error in this sort of fight, in this sort of scenario against Groon than you would against someone like Raishan.
Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
And you take 14 reduced to half, 7 points bludgeoning damage.
13 on my Constitution.
13.
What was the damage? Oh, sorry. 7.
You feel your muscles lock up once more as you're stunned now.
Awesome.
That allows the since you are stunned, attacks against you have advantage, and you are incapacitated, so hits that are next to you are technically all crits.
Oh, fuck!
No.
So the next hit link against you is 6 plus 8.
Can I smile before he hits me?
Sure, you go. So you feel your body locks up. The next hit, whack, goes right into the same place where he keeps hitting you in the sternum. You can feel the bruising. Now you hear the crack inward as you feel the ribcage, the cartilage there, pop inward. That's the second hit. He goes in for 2 more strikes. Now as you're stunned. The next one, the third one, that's going to be a 27. That is 8 plus 8. That's, you take 8 damage because it's half. So 8 bludgeoning damage. And his final hit, that is going to be, it's like a 30. That is going to be a 6, 12, 20, reduced at 10 points of bludgeoning damage.
Cool. Great.
Still standing.
He is...
My math is probably wrong, but I'm getting down there.
Okay. He's going to stand right there.
He is.
Yep.
Oh my god.
What do you do?
Did he just stand there and he had a turn?
Yeah. He got up from prone. It's half his movement, and he's not gonna move around you. He's staying right where he is. What are you doing?
Okay.
Show him what you've learned. None of us know what you learned, though. We can't help you.
I feel like you're doing that patient defense thing again. Yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna go for broke because we're pretty close anyway. I'm gonna make all 3 attacks.
Oh my gosh.
Reckless, great weapon.
Okay, go for it.
Trip one down, Barbarian.
I am also curious if... I actually think it would be kind of badass. I didn't really think about it until just now. I think it would be kind of badass if Groon is purposefully far too powerful. Like, to the point where Grog will never be able to beat him. And Grog has to actively ask for help from the other members of Vox Machina. Because that was the lesson. Like, at the end of the day, it was that Grog's strength is not derived from himself or his armaments, his magic items, whatever. It's derived from his friends. And that would be kind of badass if Matt actively had Groon say, like, no, this is between the two of us. And then Grog has to then actively contradict that and call in his friends anyways. And it's like Groon, like at first looks angry, and then gives a sly smile, and then all of the members of Vox Machina join in on incapacitating him. If that's what Matt is doing, I'm into it. And that would be a very justifiable reason to massively overtune Groon.
Well, no, actually, you're stunned this turn.
Oh.
I just remembered that.
Oh.
So you grin, and then your body just won't respond.
Is there a small fart at least?
It's not that.
Yep. It's not even like something to be proud of. It's just a little squeaker.
Oh, did you just poop your pants?
You turtle a little bit.
I got a little turtle head poking out.
Okay.
So I'm stunned. And
Stunned. So
Till the end of the
your
turn.
turn. Turn ends. At the end of your turn, you can use one of those reactions to use like the wind. He gets to move speed without attacks of opportunity.
What does he want from you?
All right. He just sits back and is on the opposite side. He just goes.
Cool. I'll look back and do this.
Ooh, he learned to be a dick.
That's your turn?
Yep.
Okay. He begins to rotate. Over there. And that's his turn.
Everyone is doing their Keanu impressions.
I have no healing anything.
Awesome.
I do a short rest, but that's it. All right. How far can I throw this fucking thing? Long range is 60 feet. The long range of 60 feet means that it would be like a disadvantage throw?
Correct.
That's not great.
Short range is 20?
Yeah.
Just get within 20 feet of him.
Yeah, let's be honest. With 50, could I get to him in 50 feet?
You want to try?
Yeah, I'd like to try.
5, 10, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. You just barely get up to him.
God, I just want to keep staring back at him, but I don't. There's no point to it. I can't do anything. It's not like I can psych him out or
Tell him what you learned.
What do you do?
vague words of encouragement. Yeah, going for broke again. Reckless, great weapon master, all three.
Okay. You have disadvantage on them because it's patient defense. They're just straight rolls.
Spatial patient defense.
Patient defense, yes.
Also known as spatial defense in the barbarian world.
Totally.
Natural 20.
Okay.
Just 2 more of those, please.
So I double the damage die. All right, roll 2 more damage dice after this. 17, 27, 30, 31.
Are you supposed to roll 10s or 12s?
10s for the hammer.
31, 39, 39, 42.
42 points of damage in the first one. Okay.
Second one.
Second attack.
That's a 31 minus 5, 26.
26 hits.
Dude, if he's using PC health, he might just
32.
die here.
35.
35 points of damage?
Yep. Last one.
Last attack.
Because I'm buying a ticket to the no pants dance after this. 20, 22.
22, no. So as you
Oh, no, that's not minus 5. It is minus 5.
Yeah, it's minus 5. So you go bounding up towards him. You sit there waiting, his arms up. The first strike, he goes to parry, but as you hit, his arm gets knocked out of the way, preventing him from parrying the second strike as it comes down right across the side of the face. Hitting him, you watch blood across the sand, and he sees his jaws kind of momentarily dislodged, his beard just kind of crusted in his own blood. As you come up with a giant over-the-head blow, and as it comes down, he slaps it from both sides and stops it mid-action. You see his hand shaking as he's holding it, and he kind of looks up in your face. Good, good.
You keep saying that.
That was so metal.
It's now his turn. As he throws the hammer back over your head, which puts you off balance, he's going to go into first 2 strikes. The first one is a 21 to hit.
Yes, I believe that hits.
That's going to be 10, reduced to 5.
Okay.
Second one, no, that's on the first one. I need you to make another Constitution saving throw.
Okay, same damage?
Same damage, yeah.
Okay.
But he's going to
23.
23.
No, 21.
21, that's right. Yeah, so he managed to resist the effect of the stunning strike. He's going to go for the secondary attack,
Okay.
which was 7 plus 13 is 20. That still hits you.
Yep.
You take 18, reduce that to 9. Make another Constitution saving throw.
Cool. We in the single digits, kids. 22 minus 2 is 20.
20, you just barely shrug off the effect of the stunning strike. He is going to go in for his flurry of blows. He knows you're on the edge. He knows you're on the edge.
4.
Yeah.
That's a natural 20. That is 16 plus 8. That is 24 points of damage, reduced to half to 12.
I am unconscious, but I use my relentless rage.
Right. Oh, shit. Okay.
Which it's a flurry of blows, and he only did it on the first play. So I'm like, shit.
Well, you need to make a Constitution saving throw.
I do, yes.
DC of 10.
I do.
Come on. Come on.
If I can't make a DC of 10, I just done it. 21.
Yeah.
Okay, so the third hit, the first couple just kind of loosen you up. Pop,
This is gonna get interesting.
The third hit, he leaps in the air, kind of Choi style, whack, and hits you right square in the face.
Superman punch.
Up in the air, and you kind of pull back as you feel your vision kind of begin to darken, and then you feel that surge of white hot rage in the back of your skull, bring you back, and you pull back up as he lands, and you watch his expression and he darts downward and goes for a low to high ground uppercut, dragon punch style. That's an 18 plus 13, it's a 31. You take 9 points reduced to 5. Hits you right underneath the chin.
However, I use my relentless rage, now at a DC 15.
Correct.
What?
Come on. Come on.
Come on, come on, weaker, Travis, come on.
27.
27. As it knocks you into the air, almost onto your feet, you manage to catch yourself and right back up as he lands. Turns around, looks at you, and goes,
Good.
I see what you've learned.
Dude, no complicated analysis here. Relentless Rage is a badass ability. I have never actually played a Barbarian, but Zealot and like so many of the Barbarian abilities are so well designed. Like they are maybe I think they're maybe my favorite martial. Oh well, I really like fighter, but Barbarian has so many just badass abilities. This is so sick. This is Too Angry to Die is so awesome. I've talked before about how Zealot is my favorite subclass in the entire game. I think Zealot is so cool. Like, Grog refuses to die. Yeah. Ugh. It's so sick. I don't think it's going to help him here. Like, I think he's eventually going to go down. But damn, do I like a good Barbarian, you know? Oh, man. I love abilities like that both mechanically and descriptively fulfill the class fantasy. Hard agree. And I think that Barbarian maybe has the highest density of those sorts of abilities. Oh, I love it. They're great as long as the enemy doesn't fly. A little bit. 63 viewers of Megaphone Man record. I don't think so. I think possibly something either in the Feywild or like the Briarwood arc. I think had like 70 or 80, but it's high. It's high. Just hit midnight. See you later, Belphegor. Man, I love Barbarian. Oh.
It's your turn. Kill him, all three. Reckless, great weapon master, chewing my tongue off while I do it. Go for it. Show me what you got. 29 minus 5, 24. 24 hits? Yep. So the first one is 23, 33, 34. 34 points of damage, first one. Okay. Second one, 9. Damage. 5. 25. Now, but a minus 5, so that's 20. 20 misses. So the first one hits, whack! It hits him in the side of the head. The other side rights his jaw strangely, but knocks him down onto 3 points. He has his down on his hand and his 2 knees on the ground. His other arm still clenched in a fist. He's breathing heavily. He's on the edge. Second strike, you go to swing down, and he rolls out of the way. He hits the ground with no effect. You're going for your third and final strike. Yeah. Go for it. That's pretty good. That's 30 minus 5 is 25. 25 hits. Fuck you, Master Splinter. Oh man, I haven't forgotten it now. 23, 33, 37. Okay, how do you want to do that? The first one hits, right? First one hits, second one he rolls out of the way and you pull back. Right. I reach back with the third one and I go, who's good now? You guys watch as you knock him clean 15 feet in the air from the blast of the blow. He ends up landing on top and the outside of the arena. Landing strewn across the steps that lead to the edge of the sand pit. And there's just quiet in the chamber. As he stands there breathing heavily, covered in blood. There's spatters of blood all across the sand. And Grun's just lying there, unconscious, breathing.
We're just scurrying our asses.
You guys are yelling.
Running down.
Yeah.
Wait. Stay there.
What?
At this point, there's the opening at the top of the temple.
Right.
There's a rumbling sound, from up above.
What?
And there's a small spark of energy that up above streaks out and hits Grun. Like a very faint lightning bolt, just out of the sky. And Grun rises up on the side, his eyes just vibrant, bright, almost glowing. He stands back up. And he's still covered in his own blood. He's wrecked. You can see parts of his body where the muscle is swollen. One arm appears to be just almost ruined. But he lands right in front of you.
A little bit of pee comes out.
But everybody's peeing.
Good body.
You've learned much. And God smiles upon you. As you look up and you hear the roiling and 2 bolts come streaking out of the top of the temple down towards Grog and slamming into what you think your body instinctually like pull down and hunker as an animal in a thunderstorm would, but you feel the warmth as your gauntlets all of a sudden flash with electrical energy, and you look down as all the runes and the sides and the chains are now glowing with divine energy.
You're a magician. Awesome.
As the roiling kind of comes to a close, you hear the of thunder begin to subside, and you feel the kind of the smell of burnt sky and ozone around you begin to subside. Still looking down at the energy pulsing through the gauntlets. Grun is still there standing, kind of looking up at you, and just goes, continue with your journey. And just kind of just looks at you, waiting for some sort of response.
I'll walk over to him. I'll bow. And then I'll reach out one of the Titanstone knuckles. Cord strength, do you?
Slams and pulls you in. And with an intensity, you feel his fingers crack. Even though these newly
imbued gauntlets there, you don't feel the tension as his grip is still strange. You expect that they could be powerful enough to crush the gauntlet with his bare fingers. He just pulls you in from your giant form down. The strength is immense, and kind of pulled down in his form. He looks you straight up, face to face, but an inch away. What have you learned?
Without the love of my friends, life has no meaning, and I would be nothing.
And how will you utilize this knowledge?
I will make their strength mine, and my strength their own. And in turn, I will try to make the world a better place than I found it.
His grip pulls off, and he withdraws his arm and releases you back to your full standing pose. Now at your enlarged form, gargantuan in the center of this temple space. His once very intimidating form, diminutive by comparison to Grog's full structure, looks up and nods.
I thank you.
I mean, I thank you. I've never gone that far in a battle before. I didn't even know that was possible. This was incredible. I'm talking a lot, aren't I? Yeah, I have a bit of a man crush.
Yes, you
okay. Thank you. And I turn and I walk back to my friends.
As you make your way back, Grun steps and leaps back out onto the opposite side, and you can see up on the platform on the opposite end of the sand pit, there is a silver, somewhat tarnished.
Oh man, that was. I do think that it's interesting, right? Because I think that the thing that I described would be with like him needing to call in the friends to help. That would be like the more distinct fulfillment or showing of the lesson. But also, like, that is a bit of a commitment to story over just like raw fun, I would say. And like Ross puts it well of like, that's the reaction a DM wants from their players. It's like, yeah, that ending of him winning is like, at the end of the day, if your players are just into like overcoming big odds and like these very like, you know, these overcoming moments, and they're not, I don't want to say they're not focused on the story, but maybe they're less focused on the story. Like, I think there are players to whom the symbolic version of that, where, you know, the friends need to be called in order for Cord to like accept it as a win, I think that would be very interesting to some players, but I don't know that Travis is necessarily that player. Like, he knows the right answer to say, but he is also like ultimately there for the Dragon Ball Z fight. Like, that is like the game part of it that really drives him. And subverting that or like forcing him to learn that or to do that is, I think it would really drive home the lesson, and it would be an interesting like story beat. But that is sometimes secondary to just the fun of playing a game. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Travis would have called in his friends once he's been told it's a one-on-one. I think he'd just lose. Oh, I agree. I think he would also just lose. I think the real, like, if we're going for like pure thematics, pure symbolism, I think Grun would have needed to like get up and be like, you say you have learned, but you have not. You still rely on your own strength or something like that. But it would, like you said, it would undercut the fun. And so I think it ultimately depends on like what the fun is to you. Like, if the fun is ultimately the big story and, like, the actual, like, development of the character and the personal arc, like, that was an opportunity for Grog to really display his character growth in, like, a really visceral way. And frankly, he didn't. He said the right words, but he didn't, like, really do any actions that went with them. But to a lot of players, saying the right words is enough for them to be satisfied. Like, I think that this will be satisfying to Travis. And that is ultimately the important part here, you know? And as Ross said, that's the reaction you want. And if that reaction, like, would have been derived from, like, essentially, like, solving the arc, or not solving the arc, but, like, truly actually understanding the lesson, that if that would have given them greater satisfaction, that is what you should go for. And, like, frankly, I'm going to be honest, I think that is what would be more satisfying at my sort of tables. Like, I'm watching this fight, and I'm not that into it. But, and I don't think my players would be either. But Travis really is. And all of the other players around him really are. And knowing that and, like, knowing what will be satisfying to your players is a really important job of a DM. And I think Matt has his finger on the pulse of that.
But still functional bell. And he just walks over to the side of it, grabs the rope, and just... And you watch as all the different corners of the empty temple, all the priests of Kor begin to wander back in, who had exited previously, as was the request, it seems, of Earthbreaker Groon, knowing that you were coming. They all just silently enter and kind of nod and bow in your direction as you make your way towards your friends. You acknowledge it, but...
Arguably, Grog did display this in the Kevdak fight, and it would just be repeating for the audience. Grog knew the stakes of that Killbox fight versus this, where Grog might know Groon won't fight the others if he loses. It's interesting, because it is, like, you could argue that the Killbox fight was the first time that he learned it. I think the thing that makes it a little bit odd to me in this one, and, like, again, I think this is the right choice. I want to make that very clear. I think this is the right choice that Matt made, but I do think that it wouldn't just be repeating it for the audience. It would be like, if you're asking Grog what he learned and he just beats you in a fight, that's not really a display of what he learned, like, at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, in fact, it's unfortunately kind of thematically the opposite of what he learned. Like, the thing that he learned is that he cannot just beat down an enemy solo. And so it's a little weird for that to be this kind of culmination point, especially when, again, the guy keeps asking him what he learned. Like, you didn't just ask him once, he asked him multiple times. To me, that almost kind of implies that, like, he's waiting for a more correct answer. And Grog eventually, you know, says the right words, but those words are sort of, like, disconnected from what actually happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, the fight with Groon right now kind of had nothing to do with what he learned. It was just a fun fight. And hey, fun fights are fun. That's just kind of it. A fun fight is just very fun, and he clearly had a lot of fun. Well, maybe not a lot, but he clearly had fun. But it is sort of disconnected from the actual lesson. Yeah, I think In Bad Company put it well. Turns out Grog learned he doesn't actually need his friends. He just needs relentless rage. Like, and I'm not saying that he didn't learn that over the course of his arc. Again, I love Grog's arc. I think it's really well done. I just don't think that this, as like an end point, is really resonant with anything else. Because I think you're totally right, Joshua. I think the Kevdak fight was an amazing climax to Grog's arc. But if we're going for like resonance with it, it's like, oh, what did you learn or whatever? This wasn't really anything related to that. If he was like, show me how strong you have grown with your friends, or show me how strong you have grown, and then Grog beats him, and then Grun says something to the effect of, you know, you have gotten very strong, Grog Strongjaw. And then Grog says, yes, I have, but I'm even stronger with my friends, or whatever. If he proves Grun wrong, then, you know, maybe there's some emotional resonance there. But I think that the way it goes is not, it's sort of just disconnected from his arc, even though it's aesthetically kind of presenting as part of his arc. It's sort of unrelated in actual action, you know? Travis clearly loves being in the fighting pits, and it's nice to have Matt tied the vestige journey to an element Travis specifically enjoys. I agree. And that's what I want to reiterate again. I think Matt is playing this well. Like, I think this is a good direction for Matt to go in. I think if you think about it too much, it doesn't really make sense. But it also doesn't really need to. Like, at the end of the day, not everything has to make a bunch of sense. It just has to be fun and satisfying to the players, and I think this was. Yeah. It's hard to quantify and prove the power of friendship in D&D, but the idea that he's stronger because he's fighting for his friends despite there being zero mechanical effects. Is he even really fighting for his friends, though? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even like mechanical effect. It's like the actions just aren't reflective of the words in any way. Like, he's saying the right words, but he's not. The actions have like no connection to the words, which is ultimately fine. He's having a lot of fun, you know? It's ultimately fine. It's just, it's a little weird, you know? This is just turning into in the quest to the quest giver. Little bit, kinda, yeah. It's good for their games, but it wouldn't be the narrative conclusion if it were written story, not a TTRPG. Yeah. Which is ultimately because of that dichotomy between what a player actually enjoys in terms of a game. Like, I think that my players would want a conclusion that like makes sense within a written story. It was hilarious. Yesterday we were playing and I made a comment about how I always talk about how my players are allergic to metagaming, because I have basically told them outright, hey, this NPC that you have like worked with and gained the trust of and like done a ton of work to like win them as an ally, they are basically going to be the captain of your ship, and we're eventually going to turn that ship into a bastion. And you will need to hire crew in order to like sail it, but in between that ship is going to act as a bastion, and he's just going to be an NPC. You don't have to like pay him or whatever. And we haven't actually turned it into a bastion yet because they're not level 5. But I was like, that is like going to be what happens. And like bastions just pay for themselves. Ned will just pay for himself. He'll be the captain. But they still insisted on giving him part of the quest reward that they just had. They were like, oh yeah, like Ned came and like helped us. Like he drove the ship. He like captained the ship and he like, you know, told us how to sail it or whatever. And he like managed all of that. And they got 20 electrum ingots from it. They gave Ned 2. And I was like, guys, out of game, just to be clear, you don't need to give Ned anything. Like, it's all good. And they were like, no, but like, it wouldn't make sense. Like, they literally told me like, no, you don't understand. We need to give Ned part of the reward. And I was like, okay, but you know that you don't, right? You're choosing to. And they're like, yeah, we're choosing to. Like, we are going to lower our quest reward because it will make more sense in the fiction. So that's what I mean of like, my players are the type where this would bug them. They would be like actively questioning, like, why did Groon say that? Like, did I do something wrong? They would, I almost guarantee that one of my players would ask if the gauntlets are like cursed now. Like, they would actively say that out loud because they would be like, I don't feel like we got the answer right. So it depends on your players. And that's like the ultimate compliment that I want to give to Matt, is that I think he has his finger on the pulse of like what his players want. My players would not want this, but Travis clearly does. And so that's like an ultimate compliment to Matt in that. Electrum, did you give your plan? The module told me to, okay? It's not my fault. It's not my fault. Lock me up. The module told me to. And you know what? I actually did bring attention to the fact that it was Electrum. I actually brought attention to the fact. They were like, is it a little weird that it's Electrum? And I was like, it's a little weird that it's Electrum, yeah. But the module told me to. I'm running Ghosts of Saltmarsh. It forced me. I wouldn't have done it. I would have made it silver. It's Ghost of Saltmarsh's fault. Look. Oh, man. If his friends had been trapped when they walked into the temple, like what happened in Avatar: The Last Airbender when King Boomy, yeah, that could have made some sense. Yeah. So in that case, would Groon running into the stands Ron Artist style and punching Vox Machina actually fit more thematically? Maybe. I don't know quite the reference that you're making, but from what I am thinking, possibly it could have worked more there. I think there's a couple of ways you could take it, but I think you guys are thinking along the right lines of how to maybe make this work a little bit more symbolically, yeah. Ship Bastion is such a good idea if you don't have a home base town. Oh, absolutely. I did implement this. This isn't exactly how the module went, but I want to give credit where credit's due. This is based off of one of the options for a BitD home base. Or a BitD lair. One of the lair options, like one of the lair upgrades you can get, is that your lair can move around, and we, fashioned it as a houseboat. So I want to give credit where credit's due. It is based on a BitD thing, and it was super fun in BitD, and I put it in this, and I agree. I think it's gonna be fun. But yeah, I always want to pay and tip and gift the NPCs because it's appropriate. Paying something sometimes makes the world feel real, and what's 10 or 200 gold at the end of the day? I agree, Sarah. Like, I ultimately understand why they did it. It was just funny. Because I do always talk about, like, most of the players that I've ever regularly played with, and I haven't even regularly played with some of these players, but I don't know what it is about me that just attracts players that are allergic to metagaming. Like, every player I've ever played with across the board is allergic to it. I have never really had to worry about it that much, except with one player, but that player had a lot of other problem behaviors. Metagaming was the least of my concerns with them. But it's so funny because sometimes people ask me about like what I do for metagaming. It's like, I know in theory what I would do, but I've just never really had to be that concerned about it. So maybe with your home game is what you do is calculate the quest reward and add a bit extra you think they'll give so they get what they deserve one way or the other. I don't even really go that hard into it. I just give them the quest reward, and if they want to nerf themselves, they can. I am fully on board with my party nerfing themselves, and they know that they're nerfing themselves, and they're down with it. Because I definitely do not force them to. Yeah. Blame the module. Yeah. You're off the hook this time, Squints. Yeah. I have no idea what Electrum is worth. Yeah, because it sucks. It's between silver and gold. Yeah. DM being forced to do anything. RMRs was a basketball player who charged into the stands to beat up a fan who threw a drink in his face. Whoa. That's crazy. Huh. Malice in the palace. But yeah, I mean that could be a way to go after that sort of thing. Yeah, you could go in that sort of direction. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Oh man. Anyways, let's wrap it up. Because we only got like 3 more minutes. But yeah, I think that Matt is handling this well. But it is a really good display of he knows what Travis wants, and if Travis possibly wanted something different, maybe could have handled this differently.
It doesn't slow you, it doesn't stop you. There's still your focus. You guys watch as Grog approaches, bloodied, beaten, barely conscious. One eye is like the lid is kind of drooping a bit. And even though he's strong in his stride, there's still a shake with his knees, but he doesn't show that weakness. He keeps pushing towards you with a slight smile through his bearded face.
Guys, if we could just, make our way out of here in as cool a way as possible. If I fall, just pick me up like Weekend at Bernie's, okay?
Pike stands next to him and says, "Don't worry, you won't fall." And she casts, cure whatever. If I can
Cure. Cure things. You have the
What
spell.
the fuck?
No, I mean, Vex has the spell.
Hi, cure. Okay, but she can do better than Vex can.
You have the
Land skin.
Cure things.
Sure. I rolled it for you.
But it's
So
better
you heal
if
8.
Pike does it.
That way you're standing and you don't have to wobble up.
I'm back at 9.
Let's get you some ale, big man. You earned it.
That sounds great.
Grog,
Yeah.
that's fucking amazing.
Right, I got struck by lightning, you
I mean,
guys.
wait, look at your gauntlets.
What?
They're glowing.
Oh shit, they are.
Is that
What
lighting
do you do?
available
What's it
to you,
mean?
like all the time?
What?
Piece of paper. Just for clarification, that all took place in Super Nintendo graphics, right?
Oh, yeah.
16-bit.
As we walk out, Kayla throws a little gust cantrip to kick up the dust behind us, so it just looks really dusty and epic as we walk off into the sunset.
As you guys walk off, the silhouetted, most of Vox Machina with one giant Grog form stepping through. You exit the Trial Forge into the rest of Bassett.
Oh man, that is a fucking that goes on the storyboard for Legend of Vox Machina right there. Holy shit. Like that's again, you see the DNA of Daggerheart sometimes. Sometimes it's so clear of the cinematic intuitions in their brain of I kick up the dust so that there's these silhouettes walking and the big doors of the temple open up and the little strip of light shines and then there's just dust as the silhouettes walk off. I mean, they're writing the TV show as we speak. Come on.
Wow.
We'll go ahead and take a break there.
There we go.
What does it do?
In its exalted form, my strength now becomes 26.
Oh, gosh.
So
My
plus
God.
8, right?
Yeah.
And when I use enlarge now, I gain resistance to fire, cold, lightning
Oh,
for 10 minutes.
shit. Imagine if we had done that before we went for the dragons.
Dude, who the fuck? Do you not already have that? Oh, wait, no, he's a frenzy barbarian. So he actually doesn't have that. I literally was like, what? I forgot he's not bear totem. I always think he is. I think he's bear totem. And I'm like, well, that's fucking silly. But he's not. So it's cool. It's cool. Never mind.
Hey, little drama's good.
Never will we see fire, cold, and lightning.
You barely eked out that victory.
I know.
Wait,
And double damage.
Fire and
Double
what?
damage. Wait, what?
Cold.
And cold.
And cold.
Cold? And lightning, fire, and cold, and double damage?
Yeah, so
And
even
double
more
damage?
stuff.
Double damage
Double damage on objects and structures.
Yeah, he had that previously.
Same. Yeah. But that's a lot of resistance to a lot of things.
Yeah.
And 26 is
Damn.
a disgusting
That's
number. Really
insane.
strong.
26.
It's good. It's 2 more than what you had. So everything goes at +1 damage to hit.
Damn.
My armor does that too, but it only makes me smell bad. It doesn't hurt my
That was awesome.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break, hit the restroom, get some snacks, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Thank you again. See you in a second.
Double dragon.
Woo! All right. Good game, everybody. Good game. We could, I don't know, stay here and keep at it. Yeah, stop it, break. No. Look, the thing is, I actually might have gone to the alternative stop point. I might have gone to the alternative stop point if I wasn't a little bit. It's one of the reasons that the breaks were a little bit longer. I was recovering a little bit mentally. I don't want to even remotely imply that I'm like forcing myself to be on. I've had a ton of fun. I loved streaming. It was a really good. It was a mental break. I've realized this as I've gotten older, which I didn't, I guess, realize before, is there's like some form of rest that is like, it is good rest, but it also takes effort. I don't know what to call that, but there's like some amount of rest that like makes you tired. It's like working out a lot of the time is like satisfying, but it makes you tired, but then it also is like mentally restful. That's kind of like this, is like I am simultaneously spent and like probably can't do any more, but I'm very glad that I came on and participated. Yeah. So the bird dog, hi. What? You can just barely see her little snoot. But yeah. On a different day, maybe, but today will not be that day. I appreciate everyone coming out. You can catch the off the action side combo you missed going at fast pace. 49 right after Vex flashes. Watch Keyleth. Oh, wait, what? 49-39? Are you sure that I missed it or just didn't care about it? Watch Keyleth. Wait a second. I'm pulling it up. Because this sounds like it'll be quick. What's up?
Should I flash him? Should I flash him? What the hell?
Couldn't hurt.
You want to make this into a body slam?
Could I?
Okay.
I was thinking initially I'd like remove one of his 5 hits that he takes on me, but
be consistent.
Who gives a shit?
We'll say for the purpose of this, you grab. Since your intent was a body slam, go ahead and roll an attack with disadvantage.
Okay, attack with disadvantage.
I can't even tell what they're saying. I mean, I know I'm going a little fast.
I was thinking initially I'd like remove one of his 5 hits that he takes on me, but be consistent. Who gives a shit?
We'll say for the purpose of this, you grab. Since your intent was the body slam, go ahead and roll an attack with disadvantage.
Okay.
I have a thing for coins. I have a thing for the twins. I actually cannot understand what she's saying.
Could I?
One. Okay.
I was thinking initially.
Is he looking at that off of her saying like he wants Vex to flash somebody?
5 hits that he takes on me, but be consistent. Who gives a shit?
We'll say for the purpose of this, you grab. Since your intent was the body slam.
Okay, I think it is. I have a thing for the twins. Yeah, okay. Might have a thing for the twins. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. 1x is fine. I couldn't understand it at 1x. I'm not good at reading lips, when people are talking over each other, like I cannot talk to someone while a TV is going on in the background. It's also why it's very difficult for me to talk over CR. I can't. I never noticed that either. I would have never heard that. It's gift using compilation videos. Gotcha. I have a thing for the twins. I don't know. That's fair. All right. Big segment of critters. Love it. Okay. So it's lore important, lore impactful. I see what you're saying. Okay. Well, cool. All right. That'll be it. I will see you guys all on Monday. Maybe I'll have the little poll thing working by that point. Maybe I won't. Who knows? I don't know yet. And I will see you all then, and we'll finish out A Bard's Lament. I'll see y'all then. Goodbye.